What a tremendous Thursday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Of course, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, as well as live on X and Instagram. You can get your app. If you haven't tried the app, I highly recommend it, especially if you're somebody who's driving all over the place, whether it's the province or across the country. And you always want to be connected to your Edmonton sports scene? Well, download the app. You can get it on iHeart, you can get it on Radio Player or Stingray. The latter two are the two I use the most. So they're good, very good. You'll love it. It's fantastic. So thanks as always for joining us on the show. There's lots to discuss, man. Lots going on. Of course, you got the Thursday nighter. You got a little Jays matinee game going on right now. What about the baseball season that is upon us? You got Shohei Ohtani, who is inching closer by the day to becoming the first 50-50 man in MLB history. You have never seen a player, excuse me, hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in the same season. He's got 49 stolen bases, 48 home runs. But he's got 14 games left. He's got to do it. I really hope he does it. Also, Aaron Judge is 4 RBI shy of 140. There hasn't been a baseball player with 140 RBIs since 2009. Prince Fielder. Sick name. Always loved Prince Fielder. And I was looking up like the all-time RBI. I want to know like what happened a decade ago, a century ago. Now I could ask Low Tide. He might have been around, but not many others of you. Like you go back and you look in the late 1800s, early 1900s, guys were having like 190 RBIs, 170. Really, in the most RBIs that you've kind of seen. Really, there was a few, and of course, in a little bit of the Royd era, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire, Miguel Tejada, guys who had 150. Well, Manny Ramirez, 165. But still, like, it's not really close to a lot of the top ones. Like, it's funny, if you look at a lot of the other sports records and basketball and football and hockey, they're closing in on, especially, like a productive mark like that. But in the major leagues of baseball, like, never going to be broken. I have to think that most RBIs in a season by Hack Wilson, great name, by the way, way back in 1930, he had 191. Now, Lou Gehrig, the next year, had 185. Hank Greenberg, 184 in 1937. Jimmy Fox, 175. Then Lou Gehrig has 3 of the top 6, by the way, because he had 173 twice. 27 and 30, like 31. Man, that guy was unreal. Not to mention one of the greatest speeches of all time, too. Oh, no, that was Joe DiMaggio, sorry. No, it was Luke. Was it DiMaggio? Yeah, it was DiMaggio. But the point is, you got to go all the way down. Like you're talking 1930s, the 1887, and then Manny Ramirez, who is 14th on the list with 165. He did that in 1999. And it kind of is an outlier. It sits in there. Then you go Sammy Sosa's at 160. And, well, Ted Williams, 1949. Well, not really when it comes to new age. Sammy Sosa, Juan Gonzalez, like some of the bigger names in the Royd area for sure. But Albert Bell, plus what do you have, 152? So Andres Galarraga, the big cat, at 150 in 1996. But it's because if you go and you look at home runs, you look at goals, points, everything in other sports, but RBIs, man, like I got to dig a little deeper. Any baseball historians, what the hell was going on in the 1930s where guys are getting this many more RBIs? I don't understand it. I'm just curious. It's kind of an oddity. So Like Gretzky was a freak of nature in the 80s. But we've seen people, now no one's really coming close to 92 goals, right? And no one's going to come to 200 points. But you look at his playoff total, Connor McDavid, look what he just did this last year. Pretty impressive. At least he's kind of in the vicinity. You're Aaron Judge and you get 140 home runs, 140 RBIs. No one's done that since 2009, and he's still 50 shy of the record. Like, he's really not close. So kind of a little mind-blowing to me is all I'll say. So Oilers today were on the ice for their first session in the morning from 9:30 until 11. We learned that Zach Hyman and his wife Alana are now doing what many of you have done when you switch from man coverage, parent coverage, to now having to go to zone when your kids outnumber you 3-2. As the Hymans welcome their third child, Cam was his name, according to dad. Pretty excited. Just born. So it was pretty good timing by the Hymans before training camp. There you go. So he'll be home. I'm not expecting Zach Hyman to be going on that road trip to Calgary. I'll tell you that right now. So you pretty much pencil in. He ain't going to Calgary on Monday for sure. Probably wouldn't have been anyway, but definitely won't be going. The other news for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, I don't think he had a real great chance to make the team. He also doesn't require waivers. But Jarventi, who was acquired this summer by the Edmonton Oilers, I was, after the first on-ice session, I was walking over the media lounge and coming around the corner in a knee brace, Jarventi. Then, of course, it wasn't on the ice for the second session. He's not close. So anybody who is looking to see him, here is Chris Noeblock with an update on Jarventi.
I just wasn't ready for camp. He really wanted to push through and be out there for camp. We decided it was best for him just to get some treatment. He won't be ready for at least a week. And it's the knee that he had surgery on isn't the problem. It's his other leg just overcompensating. So it's just he should be ready to be on the ice in 1 or 2 weeks. But unfortunately, he's just not ready for day one.
The fact that it's not the knee that he had surgery on. So, and the fact that it's not long-term, good news. But, you're a young player, you come in an organization, I get it. You want to make an impression. You're all excited. Here we go. And you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me a little bit of Vincent Desharnais. Vincent Desharnais, when he finally got, not an AHL, not an ECHL, AHL deal. He got his NHL contract, and he got injured in camp. And 2 years in a row, if you recall. And we had him in studio talking about just how challenging it was mentally. He'd been through a lot at that point. And so that was the one good thing he said. I had a lot of experience in dealing with adversity, but it's hard. When it's easy after the fact to say, oh yeah, you know what? It was good for me, but ask anybody out there. When you're in the moment of that adversity situation, it's not like, oh, this is great for me. And I understand it. It's a lot easier to have hindsight after the fact and realize, okay, I don't really remember how raw the emotion was and the frustration, but I'm like, yeah, you know what? That was good for me. But at the time, most of us are like, this blows goats. Not good at all. So what is good is Vladdy. Just went yard. So there you go. Big home run from Vladimir Guerrero. So there you go. That's the latest update on Jarventi. We'll hear more from Chris Noeblock, also on Hyman. To me, the biggest news from camp today was the top two lines. We outlined earlier in the week at the forward position, there's maybe, and I'm not even sure how, but there's maybe one job that's up for grabs. Potentially. and that is the fourth line center. I still believe that Derek Ryan, he's the incumbent. He is going to have to be beaten out for that gig, no question about it. But other than that, there's really not a lot of intrigue on the forward group. Defense, of course. And Darnell Nurse spoke today. Wouldn't give an exact timeline. Says he's feeling good. He was actually out there all day today. Took part in every drill. Now, there wasn't any contact drills. But, so his mobility, skating, it's all there. So they're obviously just going to be ultra cautious. My understanding is it's an oblique that he's recovering from. So anybody, the oblique, right down your side in your core. So twisting, turning, might you want to rest it. Do you need Darnell Nurse to play in the first 3 or 4 preseason games? No. You would like him to play in at least one of the final 2, if not both. I can understand that. But to me, the big storyline is the Oilers' top 6. And Chris Noeblock had McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman together. And really, why wouldn't he? That was a very good line last year. They brought in wingers for Leon Draisaitl. When I started to crunch the number on Draisaitl, and really, he had compared to guys like McDavid, Matthews, and McKinnon, because most people would say those are the 4 best centers in the NHL. Is there any other center you can think of that you would put in the category or close to McDavid, McKinnon, Draisaitl, Matthews? None that I can think of. Right? Like, I really like Braden Point, but I think he's just a little bit rung down from them. So there's no one there. But if you look at it over the last few seasons, Connor McDavid has played with Zach Hyman for over 2,100 minutes at 5-on-5. Marner and Matthews have played just under 2,100 minutes together. Heck, McKinnon and Rantanen have played 2,700 minutes together. Leon Draisaitl's played 1,200 with McDavid. And Draisaitl's played the wing. He's got like 900 with Nugent Hopkins. Actually, below that. Kyler Yamamoto's still top 4, and he hasn't been on the team for a while. As far as teammates go for Draisaitl the last 3 years, 5-on-5. He never has really had a consistent, long-standing winger. Now, at the January of, was it 2020, the end of the 2019-20 season, when Draisaitl won the Hart Trophy? Remember that year where Yamamoto and Draisaitl and Nugent Hopkins they were on fire. Right? They had that 6-week stretch. They were killing it. But that never lasted. Right? Nugent Hopkins has never been a great 5-on-5 producing player, nor has Yamamoto been. But Leon Draisaitl now, today, stepped on the ice with a gentleman. Did you know? The last 3 seasons in the NHL, Connor McDavid has the 2nd most points 5-on-5. Leon Draisaitl has the 6th most. Zach Hyman is 18th with 136. And just behind him, at 20th, is Jeff Skinner with 135. Now, Jeff Skinner is a player who has scored 27 goals 5-on-5 twice. He scored 25 goals 5-on-5 twice. 23 goals 5-on-5 twice. The one year when he scored 27 goals 5-on-5. Now, if you read my article, you'd know the answer. I could have guessed probably, I don't know, 100 times. And I would not have gotten it correctly. The 2 players that he played with the year he scored 27 goals 5-on-5 in Carolina. Victor Rask was one. And Lee Stempniak, late in his career, was the right winger for the majority of the time. And he scored 27 goals 5-on-5. Now, the last few years, he's played with Tage Thompson. Really good player. But he's not Leon Draisaitl. Young Jack Eichel in Buffalo. One year they had 27 goals together. Good player. Not Leon Draisaitl. So, Jeff Skinner, this will be the best center iceman he's ever played with. You can make an argument that Jeff Skinner is going to be the best 5-on-5 winger Leon Draisaitl has ever had consistently on his line. Ever. If I'm Chris Noeblock, I am ultra patient with my two duos. I'm keeping Hyman and McDavid together. It's not even a debate. Not at all. And the Edmonton Oilers, remember this, they were third in the NHL last season, 5-on-5 scoring. Did you know they were sixth in goals against? How about the fact that they had the most shots for 5-on-5? Sixth, fewest. They were a really good team 5-on-5. And now you throw in Jeff Skinner to play with Leon Draisaitl. I think the Oilers have a very good chance to become only the 10th team in the salary cap era to have 200 plus goals 5-on-5. They've had 192 and 193 the last two seasons. And now you have 4 of the top 20 scores 5-on-5 over the last 3 years, pretty big sample size, together in the same team. I would keep them as duos. The more I look into it, it makes sense. I would just leave it. Now, I know they might try different things here or there. I actually think the experiment might be Nugent Hopkins and Henrique switching. I think they're going to like Arvidsson with Draisaitl and Skinner. I think there's lots of reasons to like that. Skinner has proven time and time again he can be productive 5-on-5. And now he gets to play with a better center. And by the way, I thought it was very odd people suggesting that Leon Draisaitl had a bad year 5-on-5 last year. Leon Draisaitl, without Connor McDavid, outscored the opposition 38-28, 5-on-5. Him and McDavid, when they played together, also scored 38 goals 5-on-5. 21 again. So they had a little bit higher rate. They had more goals per minute, but they also allowed more goals together than when Draisaitl did away from McDavid. Now, McDavid without Draisaitl was still elite. As always, him and Hyman, really good together. Crush the opposition. So if you could have two lines that are even more dominant, why wouldn't you? So I look at Skinner and Draisaitl as a duo. McDavid and Hyman, I'm not switching them. If I'm Noeblock, and Chris Noeblock said it, he's going to be patient, but he admitted, well, it might not. This is my initial plan, but it might change. Maybe he does. I could make a stronger argument that if I was changing anything in the top 6, I might change Henrique and Nugent Hopkins. Just a thought. Coming up on the program today, Dan Rosen will join us. We'll talk to the Saints GM as their season gets going this weekend. TR will be by. Troy Murray. Hey, you've done pretty good when you have an arena named after you in St. Albert. The Blackhawks analyst will join us. Livingston will be by. We'll hear from Sergio Castillo from the Bombers. Big game between the Elks and the Blue Bombers coming up on Saturday. We got Spec. Also, Josh Liskowitz will join us. He's a senior data collection analyst. We're going to talk a little football, the NFL, with Josh. So very great lineup. Looking for that. We'll also hear from Noeblock and Hyman and Nurse and much, much more. You can get involved. You can text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox.
Ain't it beautiful?
The inventory is unprecedented. Volvo Cars Edmonton is proud to boast an amazing selection of in-stock Volvo XC40s, 60s, and 90s. Visit Volvo Cars Edmonton today and experience the exemplary service you've come to expect and the affordable luxury only found with Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Michelle and Colette are sisters.
sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's number one.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Herrenschweiner. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree
Wilhauk beef jerky is the best.
it might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wilhauk beef jerky today, because you don't win friends with salad.
And other heroes hiding in plain sight. GS Construction.
But who are these supermen and women in hard hats? They're the ones with the power to offer services such as infrastructure rehabilitation, water and drainage solutions, land development, general contracting, and more. And when they're finished doing what they do best, everything is covered and invisible to everyone's eye. So don't look for them in the sky. They're out on the roads and in your neighborhoods. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg. Worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Get ready to revolutionize your job site with Edmonton Kubota's game-changing compact construction equipment. From mini excavators and skid steers to track loaders, carriers, and utility vehicles, they have a model to fit every need, all powered by legendary Kubota diesel engines. These machines are built for performance and reliability. Transform your work with Edmonton Kubota's top-of-the-line compact equipment. Visit them today and see why they're the name you can trust for power and precision.
Hey, it's Kevin Carius. Looking for a truck? Looking for a deal? Then head over to St. Albert Dodge. Right now, save up to $20,000 on 2024 Ram 1500 DT model trucks, including the Sport, the Rebel, Laramie, and Limited Line. It's been a long time since we've seen anything like that. And if you need one more reason to buy, remember that the 2024 Ram 1500 models are the last year of production, featuring the legendary Hemi V8. Head up the trail to see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Also streaming all the time at sports1440.ca. Big shout out to all of you who are listening and watching. Very much appreciate it. And keep doing it. Tell a friend. Now, let's go around the NHL. There's lots to talk about. Brought to you by McDonald's. And, of course, we've talked about the Big Arch. If you haven't tried it, you should, because it is good and it is big. If you like a big burger, get that at McDonald's. Also, try the breakfast wrap, the sausage, bacon, and egg, or the chicken bacon wrap and spicy egg and hash brown wrap. The spicy egg and hash brown, oof, it's good. And as a guy who's kind of a softie for spice, I handle it no problem, so you probably can. Check it out only at McDonald's. As we are joined by Dan Rosen from NHL.com. And Dan, it's there's lots of storylines going on right now around the NHL. Let's the Detroit Red Wings. Last week at this time, their fans were a little bit concerned because two of their best players weren't signed, and Mr. Raymond gets a contract, and then Mo Seider signed one today. And I know a lot of people are like, wow, he should have got way more money. And I'm like, well, if you look at his numbers compared to what Cale Makar got on his deal and his numbers, and I get the cap's gone up, but he still hasn't reached the numbers of Makar. Like, I think it's obviously it's a life-changing deal for Seider. It's a good deal for Detroit, but I don't know if it's that grossly underpaid if I look at the most recent high-end RFA.
No, I don't think so. That's exactly where I thought he was going to be, actually. More along the lines of less Cale Makar, more along the lines of like a Jake Sanderson contract, right? I mean, something along those lines is where I thought that Mo Seider would end up. And Sanderson got, I think he got $8 million a year. Seider's getting about $8.5, right? $1 million a year. One less year on the deal for Seider than there is for Sanderson. But that's kind of really where I thought he would be. I'm not ready to go Mo Seider as Cale Makar yet. Like, that's, to me, that's not apples to apples. Mo Seider's been a terrific player for the Detroit Red Wings for about 250 games. I think it's 246 games. He hasn't played in the playoffs. He hasn't done it. He hasn't come close to an Norris Trophy. He won the Calder, but like Sanderson is more of the mark where I thought that would be the starting point. And then you build it up in terms of AAV from there, because he's got a little bit more experience and a little bit better numbers than Jake Sanderson. So I'm not surprised that's where the contract was. This is a deadline league, right? I mean, it goes to Raymond and Seider. They pretty much go essentially right up to the deadline for both of these guys. The one that we don't know about is Jeremy Swayman. That's the real interesting one to me.
Yeah, it's kind of fascinating. And it's interesting. I can see why Boston's like, I don't know if we want to go 10 million here. I'm not even sure if that's, maybe that was a legit request. I don't know, but that wouldn't make a lot of sense to me, to be honest. Like, he doesn't have the resume or not even close to the games played to want to get that contract.
But they blew their leverage when they traded Linus Ullmark. Right. And now Jeremy Swayman's looking at it and going, you need me, guys. Like, you're like, you need me. I'm right here and you need me, right? I mean, like, if not, they got Korpisalo and the Busey, right, is the other guy. Like, this is a team that is expected to compete for a Stanley Cup, and they need their goalie. So he knows that. His agent knows that. They'll come through. I doubt this goes to the opening night without Jeremy Swayman there. And I think it's actually it's important for everybody to be in camp, but I think it's less important among the important scale for goalies as opposed to a forward or a defenseman, a center wing, whatever it is. These guys know the game that Jeremy Swayman plays. He's more of his own, right, on an island. He has to play a certain way to help their system, but really it's stop the puck. That's his job. And help break it out. They know what they're doing. He's been practicing with them. He was in their captain's practices before camp began, and now he's not reporting because he doesn't have a contract. And I wouldn't need to if I didn't have a contract. I think this will get done. I don't think it goes to opening night. I'll be shocked if it does. I was stunned yesterday when Don Sweeney brought up December 1st. Stunned. Like, I'm thinking to myself, whoa, is that where they're thinking with this? Because that's 2 months of that's 2 months of a season that's essentially blown if you don't have Swayman, there. So I don't see that happen. I think it'll come down, and I don't think it'll be 10 million, but I don't think it's going to be as low as 8. I think it's going to be somewhere in between.
Yeah, Dan, I think that's the great try to use the public negotiation just as a subtle, we'll get it done by December 1st because
you're crazy.
Yeah, because it's kind of one of the few bargaining chips they have is the players like, wow, he's going to lose money for the first, 8 weeks of the season. Like, he's going to make so much money. Those 8 weeks ain't going to matter long term. But you know what? That's kind of the only leverage point they have at this stage.
It really is. And trading Ullmark was the right move. And I appreciate what Don Sweeney said too. And he said, like, his job, he's disappointed that he hasn't been able to do his job. Where his job is, I set this as a priority, is what he said, and I still haven't been able to accomplish it, and that makes me disappointed. And they're not just going to hand out free money here to Jeremy Swayman. They're going to try to make a contract here that is suitable for the Boston Bruins as well, but it's going to be very suitable to Jeremy Swayman too, more probably suitable to Swayman than to the Bruins. So there's an understanding there. But there's also a threshold, I'm sure, that the Bruins are like, right now I can't go there. So we have to negotiate down from your threshold. You got to come off of it a little bit to get to where we need to be, to get this guy going, to get him in games. And that's what we need. And that's what he needs as well. So that's why I think eventually, like, we're past that initial deadline of the opening of training camp. Now you look at it as opening night is the next deadline. There's a long enough window there. There's a long enough runway there to get this done.
Dan Rosen joins us from NHL.com here on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, as well as Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. And Dan, there's lots of intriguing storylines. We see Jason Robertson. He's announced he had a cyst in his foot, and so he's going to miss some time. And by his standards, he had a pretty lethargic regular season last year, right?
Yeah,
like this is not great for the Stars to have him kind of playing catch up.
No, you don't want him playing catch up. He's going to miss training camp, so that makes him have to play catch up. And that's why I said it's more important for a skater than it is a goalie, because the skater's got to be in the system. He's got to get the flow. It's where you reestablish your chemistry. Those captain skates in late August and early September, that's not where you establish your chemistry. You're just getting back together. You need training camp. So you figure even if he's back, at some point very early in the season, he's still 2 weeks from really ramping up and being where he wants to be. And so that's a hit. The Dallas Stars are, we all believe that they're going to be a very good team. This is something you don't need. They have to make up the offense they lost from Joe Pavelski as well. And you're right. I mean, I'm just looking at it now. I knew the numbers dropped. I didn't realize it was a 17-goal drop for Jason Robertson. Like, that number didn't click in. That's a lot of goals that he dropped. Now you take Joe Pavelski out as well. You got to make some of that up. I like the Stars. I like them a lot. I like the ability that they have to bring in the youth and Stankoven and Bork, and Wyatt Johnston's already there. Mix it with guys like Robertson, and then you still have your veteran core. But you need Jason Robertson, and frankly, you need Jason Robertson as a 40-goal scorer.
Oh gosh, yes, but yeah, that's a significant drop. Right?
It's huge.
It's a huge drop, and so I what do you make of the Dallas Stars? They, Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, Joe Pavelski obviously was getting old and he moved on, but how much more can they expect from young Wyatt this season?
Well, I think that's a key. That's a really big key for them, because now Wyatt Johnston has to step up and be a more prominent role. He already had one. He scored 32 goals last year.
Yes.
He had 65 points. But now you're looking at it and saying, okay, that was the stepping stone after a very successful rookie season. And now you got to be potentially a 19, 20-minute a night player. Now you got to be a guy who, can be a point-per-game guy for us. That's where he has gone. It's a quick progression too. 2 seasons now into his third. I think, what is he, 21 years old? He was at Player Media Tour. I was there last week. He's young. He looks young, right? But he's got a ton of experience already. He learned a lot living with Pavelski the last couple of years. He's played in 38 playoff games. So now you want to see the big step, and now you want to see a guy who go from 32 goals to 40. You want to see him go from 65 points to 80. It's a lot to ask, but I think that's what the expectation should be for a Wyatt Johnston, because of where he started in his NHL career as a 24-goal scorer as a rookie, and how he improved that by 8 in 1 year. He could have improved that another 8, and you're a 40-goal scorer.
Dan Rosen joins us on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Dan, if you look at the Vancouver Canucks, and Demko spoke today and admitted that he had an issue in the offseason, and you look at Shelovs, and then the unfortunate testicular cancer for Dakota Joshua, and what a great year that they had, especially their start. Like, they were unbelievable out of the gate last year for Vancouver. What's your expectations for them this season?
I do wonder, right? Like, I wonder, are they going to take a step back from where they were? Did they jump? Remember when the New Jersey Devils made that big jump 2 years ago, and they were a 112-point team, and then, it might have been a little too early, and they had goaltending issues, and they really dropped last year, and injuries, they didn't have the depth to withstand the injuries. They had a big loss in Dougie Hamilton. So I look at the Vancouver Canucks, and I'm like, I think it's a good team. They have some injury issues. What's the status of Thatcher Demko? Is he going to, he's unsure if he's going to be ready to start the season. Where the Dakota Joshua thing, obviously you don't want ever to have to deal with that, but they have to deal with that. Did they go too far last year? Did they jump too far last year to where now expectations are going to be higher than they were, that are going to be way high, that they're not going to be able to meet them? And they are a team I do wonder about. I don't know that they have a drop off like the New Jersey Devils had from year to year, but I can see the Canucks having a little bit of a drop off. Does that mean they missed the playoffs? I don't know about that. I mean, because honestly, you look at that division, and to me, there's one sure thing in the division, and it's the Edmonton Oilers. The Canucks should be. The Kings, I don't know about. The Golden Knights have continued to take hits. At some point, those hits are going to catch up to them, right? And then, Seattle, Anaheim, San Jose, Calgary, none of those teams are striking me as a team that's going to take that huge step this year after a tough year last year. So I think Vancouver is a playoff team, but I don't think they're a team that's 109 points again. Maybe they're 99 points. Maybe they drop 10 points and still get in.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I'd be surprised if Vancouver's not a playoff team this coming season.
Yeah, well, look at the division.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at the division, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at the talent that they have, and then look at the division. I don't know about the Los Angeles Kings. I can't tell you if they're better or worse or whatever it is. I don't love their goaltending. I think the Vegas Golden Knights are still a playoff team. I do. I would bank on it, but at the same time, they've taken hits every year, right? And the Oilers are a sure thing. So the other four teams I just don't trust. So I think that it's almost like Vancouver, just by their talent alone, as long as they stay healthy and relatively healthy and do the guys perform the way you expect them to perform, they should easily be a playoff team.
What do you make of Seattle this season?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what Dan Bosman has had a lot of success the last 2 years as a coach in the American Hockey League. He comes up, it's different. He knows it's different. It's not the same team that he was coaching in Coachella Valley. There's a couple of guys there, but it's not the same team. I do like the addition of Montour. I think that's a really good addition. I think that's going to be a hit that the Florida Panthers take by not having him. And I like Brandon Montour a lot as player. I like Chandler Stevenson. Are they the type of players though that put you over the top? No, they're not. They're good. They're good players. I think Seattle should be a better team than they were a year ago, which was an 81-point team that struggled to score. I still think that they could struggle to score, and they're going to have to defend really well, and that's a really hard way to play for 82 games. I don't see them as a playoff team. I really don't. I see them as a team that's probably better than 81 points, but not good enough to get in, especially when you look, at the other side. Nashville is better. Colorado, is may not be as good, but they're not going to drop. Dallas I expect them to be really good again. We know Winnipeg potentially. I don't think they're going to have a huge drop, especially with their goaltending. And is a team like Minnesota or a team like St. Louis or even a team like Utah ready to take a jump? Possibly. And that's why I just don't see Seattle being able to take a big enough jump.
Dan, always good to catch up with you, man. Enjoy the preseason. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks a lot, Jason. Appreciate it, man.
It's Dan Rosen from NHL.com. And if you missed it, of course, Detroit Red Wings, they lock up Mo Seider, just under $9 million per season for him. I think that's it's honestly, I saw a lot of people saying, wow, I can't believe it. I'm like, but look at his numbers. He never has done what Cale Makar has done to this point. And even though Cale Makar signed for $9 million, but look what Cale Makar has done. So I get it. So $8.55 million, nothing to get upset about if you're him. He's making almost $60 million. I think he'll be fine. And that could turn out to be a really good deal for Detroit. We'll see. Detroit's got to take a step this year. No doubt about it. 241, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Will return another. Man, there's so many leagues kicking off. We'll talk about another one next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Guess what it is? It's the Daily Grand. $1,000 a day, every day for the next 20 years. Get your tickets. PlayAlberta.ca.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just go to PapaJohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
You'll hear it around town. It's GMC's Canada-wide clearance. But at Wolf GMC Buick, we're putting our own spin on it. Not only do we have over 200 GMCs available, we also want you to upgrade your ride with 0% financing up to 72 months on the 2024 GMC Sierra Elevation. Oh, and how about at least $10,000 cash back in your pocket on in-stock heavy-duty trucks? Yep, it's Canada-wide clearance, and you'll only get these deals at Wolf GMC Buick, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road, just seconds from the Anthony Henday.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit FemaleSuperLeague.com.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Rule number 62. Never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and frankly a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
It all began in 2006.
Edmonton's premier live music and party venue was born.
Well, guess what? We're now legal age.
On the Rocks is turning 18.
Party with us tomorrow night
as we celebrate our 18th birthday.
Happy birthday!
Enjoy Sound Station.
Live music from the Arcana King.
And a chance to win $500 cash.
Thank you for an amazing 18 years.
On the Rocks.
OTR's 18th birthday tomorrow night.
On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Before every big interview, every big presentation, every big moment, I've always looked in the mirror and put on my game face. But lately, my eyes look tired, my brow looks old, and I'm starting to think it's game over.
Stop thinking and start seeing me, Dr. Vance Elliott, for skin refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance.
He didn't make me look weird. No, he gave me back my game face.
Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Diablo Boots in Canada West. Two great names in work and cowboy boots. For over 60 years, Diablo has been selling the best-made Canadian boots. Diablo has boots from sizes 6E to size 15 EE, just for you. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Justin, or Red Wing, when Diablo has the best quality for less, made in Canada? Diablo has work and cowboy boots with replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So, save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard, on the east side of Save On Foods. Hurry in today for best selection.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. This is one big deal for one big pizza. Get an extra large New York style one topping pizza for only $17.99. Order today at papajohns.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.246. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Hope you're having a lovely day. Daily Grand. Get your tickets. PlayAlberta.ca. As another league, another season is set to drop the puck tomorrow as we go in the community, brought to you by Action Electrical. And man, they do so much in the community when it comes to helping out numerous different charities. And also helping out, just trying to save you some money with solar. But they are all around the community, actionelectrical.net. And we are joined by the general manager of the Spruce Grove Saints, who, of course, now part of the BCHL, Rob Sklaruk. Joins us. Rob, welcome back to the show, my man. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks, Jason, for having me.
So you kick off a new season in a new league. Of course, you kind of joined there last season, but not fully because you stayed playing the Alberta team. So you'll kind of get the full inclusion into the league. How? I know it's early. You haven't even had a regular season game yet until tomorrow. We'll get to that in a second. But from your vantage point as the GM, has anything changed in how you go about your day-to-day business?
Well, a lot has changed from last year. It was a pleasure to play 20 games in the BCHL and three playoff games. So we got a good idea on the pace of play, style of play, the new rules, maybe some other things that kind of happen behind the scenes. But certainly looking forward to tomorrow on a brand new endeavor of the Spruce Grove Saints and joining the BCHL. I think that we're super excited to get started.
What are the rule changes?
Well, not rules. I think it's just kind of the standard of play. Everything kind of behind the scenes that we need to do.
Okay.
A few changes in some certain areas. Supplying refs with towels and waters and just all those little things kind of behind the scenes. We don't use the old-fashioned score sheets. Everything's done electronic. Just everything that that comes with a change.
Now, you look at, I guess, where you get your players from, Rob. How different was that this offseason?
It certainly changed. Obviously being, part of the BCHL, we were more identified to certain specific positional players that would come in and help. We weren't worried about tampering with carded players, so that was kind of wide open. If you wanted somebody, you would go out and talk to them and talk to the advisors. But I think with the quality of league, there's certainly lots of agents and advisors pushing players in our direction. So there's just lots of follow up, lots of video, lots of communication with kind of having kind of a clean slate in recruiting players.
Do you have any idea kind of where you're going to rank in the league at all? Or is it kind of like, I think it's safe to say in the past, you knew going into most seasons, you were one of the top teams in the AJHL. You have been for a long, long time. Do you kind of know where you fit in the pecking order this season?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think that will play a little bit of catch up, obviously, in the past, we were, you could say that we ranked maybe in the top 3 or 4 in the AJHL, and every year we would shoot for that. We'd get better as the season would move along. Certainly with less games at 54, we should be healthier. Only in playing weekends, so you have a lot of time to prepare for certain teams. I'm hoping, Jason, that we're able to kind of lock in a playoff spot, get into a playoff. Playoff run and see what happens from there. So, we'll find out by, playing a really quality team with the BCHL in the Predicting Vs, and we're looking forward to that to see where we kind of, rank up and step up and we'll see what happens.
You mentioned fewer games, but for the most part, they're weekend. I know you play on Thanksgiving Day, Monday the 20th, I think it is, or you play like you have the odd game on a Monday, but just not many of them. How much travel obviously is a factor in that, but I'm assuming from a business standpoint, if pretty much every one of your home games is a Friday or Saturday night, in theory, you should have bigger gates.
Yeah, I think in theory, I know, the guys behind the scenes, and JJ Hebert is certainly pushing that type of market, having weekend games on a Friday, Saturday. We have the odd Sunday afternoon game. So we're certainly excited about, getting people into the ground here and obviously maybe potentially moving into a new rink sometime in January that's a little bit bigger, get some more bums in the seats. But certainly it's exciting to prepare for the weekends, whether we're going to be traveling on a Thursday, going into BC, or we're getting ready for our home games on a Friday, Saturday. So certainly lots to kind of figure out, lots to do, and the new teams that we're bringing in, certainly it should be an attraction for some good hockey, and a few more fans that can come and cheer us on.
That you make your first trip into BC, because you're on the road in Black Falls, but you make your first trip into BC, into Chilliwack, October 17th and 18th. When you look at, how much extra travel is it? What were those travel days look like? Are you leaving at 7 a.m. on a Thursday? What's the plan?
Yeah, so the plan is, so the weekend you're talking about, Showcase weekend, and that one for sure will be the longest trip we play. We'll leave Monday, and we play Tuesday, Wednesday day off. We do play Thursday, Friday, and then we'll fly home Saturday morning.
Oh, you're flying.
To play the Penticton Vs on Sunday afternoon again. But on a normal weekend, I think we have 1 3-3 in BC. Yeah. And then the other games that when we do travel, we'll travel as far as we can on Thursday.
Okay.
We will game day skate on a Friday morning, and then play Friday night. The Saturday game, we'll rest up. We'll travel Saturday morning and get to where we need to be, and then play the game, and then we'll travel home right after the game on most nights.
Okay.
Some nights we might spend the night and travel home on Sunday morning. So
as like, that's obviously kind of, as the GM, you're part of putting together all the travel, Rob. Like, not only is it building the team, but that's something the GM, especially at the junior A levels, like, I'm sure you maybe have someone helping you out, but you're probably overseeing all of the travel factor. How much more is travel costs for your club this year compared to in the AJHL?
Yeah, I think it's it's a valid question. We had 7 or 8 overnight stays in the AJHL. Moving to the BCHL, we'll move up probably into the heavy teens in terms of overnight stays. Leaving Thursday, so that's an extra day. I think we leave 9 Thursdays through the course of the year.
Okay.
So I'd say for sure, the travel costs will double. But in saying that, when you're, bringing in some quality teams, and it's up to the marketing people to make sure that, there's, the stands are full, and sponsorship is going to be, right to the rafters and full. We like not to cut costs in terms of eating and what we do. So obviously with hotel costs, some meeting rooms, extra food, like food costs on 9 extra days. Obviously the price would probably double.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Tell us about, now you've played Penticton as an organization before, but usually that would be in the playoffs, right? So now you host them in a first time ever in a regular season game tomorrow night at the Grant Fear Arena. Kind of what's on tap? Anything special, anything new for that first home opener in a new league?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots going on. They'll have some stuff before the game. Our players will be active with just making sure that the scratch players will be amongst the people that enter the building. There'll be a DJ and have some fun like that way. But certainly the end game experience will certainly have to rise, and all those little things kind of behind the scenes that we'll look after. Hoping for busy night. Obviously, the lounge will be open early, and some special things going on before the game.
Well, Rob, best of luck. We look forward to it. Of course, with the 5 Alberta teams moving in the BCHL, it's something we've never seen before. So I look forward to seeing how it goes. Best of luck.
Perfect. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it.
That's Rob Sklerook. He is the general manager of the Spruce Grove Saints. And of course, get your tickets at SGSaints.ca is where you can get it. And so tomorrow night, and it's going to be packed house there tomorrow. And then they move into their new arena you know how construction goes. They're hoping in January in Spruce Grove. I got a tour of that a few months ago. It's going to be a great facility. And that's great for that community. Just, you know what, you got more ice surfaces. Anybody out there in any community can tell you right now, there's just simply not enough ice there's more kids playing hockey than ever before. And there hasn't been a massive influx in more ice surfaces, and some are getting older and now we're shutting down. So that's a challenge. So for Spruce Grove, I'm sure when that new facility opens up and there's an extra ice surface, that's going to be well received in the community. No doubt about it. 2:57. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Kidsport and their 6th annual Pizza Pig Out, where all the money raised goes to Kidsport. Get them in the game. If you love pizza and you get to try all different kinds, this is like the pizza extravaganza. It's so good. You can get your tickets. Go to Jason Gregor, pizzapigout.com in support of Kidsport.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Detroit Red Wings have signed restricted free agent defenseman Moritz Seider to a 7-year, $59.85 million extension. Seider, still just 23 years old, played in 82 games last season for Detroit, recording 9 goals and 42 points. And the Anaheim Ducks have named Radko Gudas as their 9th captain in franchise history. First to wear the C since Ryan Getzlaf. From the CFL, Winnipeg Blue Bombers linebacker Adam Bighill announced that he'll be undergoing season-ending knee surgery. He last played on September 1st against the Rough Riders. The Bombers in Edmonton on Saturday to take on the Elks. Week 3 in the NFL will kick off tonight as the Jets host the Patriots. That gets going at 6:15. Major League Baseball today, the Jays blanked the Rangers 4-0. Vlad Guerrero Jr., 2 solo shots in this one. They now head down to Tampa to take on the Rays in a weekend series. Right now, Mariners lead the Yankees 3-0, and the Dodgers on top of the Marlins by a score of 1-0. Earlier today, Orioles got past the Giants 5-3. The Braves beating up on the Reds 15-3, and the Twins fall to the Guardians in extras 3-2. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by former NHLer and Shoresy star Terry Ryan, and we'll speed things up in the Cantor Racing Report with Colin Livingston. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Something just worked together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fan. Your listening power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Mr. Rooter goes for a fall stroke.
Ah, the beauty of fall. These leaves are crunchier than that calcified shower head I replaced this morning. And the earthy yellow oranges and browns are as colorful as the wad of hair I pulled out of the shower drain.
Ugh, Mr. Rooter, can we talk about something else?
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you didn't like fall. You look about as sour as the sewer line I unclogged yesterday.
For a plumber you'll truly fall for. Call Mr. Rooter.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantor.
Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Gateway Toyota treats us like we're precious gems.
Because that's what we are.
Every vehicle purchased from Gateway Toyota includes enrollment into their GEM program. It stands for Gateway Exclusive Membership.
And it gives you 5-year access to over $2,500 in benefits.
Free oil changes.
Free tire and windshield repair.
Free car washes.
Even an annual detailing.
You'll also get special discounts, trade-in bonuses, and referral rewards.
I feel like a gem.
At Gateway Toyota, just off Calgary Trail at Ellerslie Road.
When you want to recognize the top performer on your team, come create memorable and customized trophies and awards with Elite Promotional Marketing. Elite's in-house design team will help you achieve your corporate award goals. Head to elitepromomarketing.com.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg, worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Last night, on the way to paperback was on my knee.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Been away so long, I hardly.
Rolling through Thursday afternoon. Welcome back to the show. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Also sports1440.ca, where you can get in daily grand. $1,000 a day for 20 years. $7.2 million. Now, you can get it as a lump sum, or you can get $1,000 a day. It's your choice. I understand the math. I know what the better decision would be financially. Get the lump sum, put it away, save some interest. I'm telling you, for me, I would just want $1,000 a day. I would like it. Now, maybe after a year, I would see if I'd change my mind. Who knows? I don't know how it works. I haven't won it yet. But I'd like to have the opportunity. For sure. Welcome to the show. He is two-time author, aspiring actor. We'll find out, how did the audition go here for Youngblood? Now, is it like Youngblood Part 2? I'm not sure the actual title or not, but he'll tell us. Terry Ryan joins us. TR, how are you?
Yo, I'm all right. I'm getting ready to give a little.
You're on the Stampede here? What is happening?
I had it in beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho last week. Yeah, I'm rocking it. I got my snakeskins here. Oh, yeah, I got it. And you know what? When I lived shout out to Red Deer, my billets, Neil and Vera Tamilty. We lived on a ranch there. So,
nice.
You know, not that I grew up on one, but I do have some experience. And of course, my ex, the Kosses, Bruce Koss, we used to ride in the Danes rodeo there, Penhold. I think it is Penhold.
Yeah.
And I went to a lot of those, actually. I love it. So, but anyway, that's the hat. Tonight, I'm speaking in just a couple hours at our Chicklets Live, and then we got the Chicklets Cup tomorrow, 3 games in the morning. Ball hockey 3-on-3. It should be a pretty eventful weekend if I know Biz and company.
Are you guys going to win this year?
Hopefully it's, I'd love to guarantee that, but it can't be done. What's happened is that and this is London, so there's 12 teams in our division, so 8 are just guys that I know from like that have played Canada Nationals. Like they're all guys that we see all the time. Like, and this is, I'm not trying to sit on any fences here, but we have a darn good team. We really do. Some of the best, and the younger players we got. Josh Anderson just scored the winning goal in overtime in Czech Republic for Team Canada Men's Open Division just a couple months ago. Now, it was a goal. We got some players off that team. A bunch of us guys who are getting older, longer in the tooth, have played and won championships and all that. But so has everybody here. So, we have a great team, but I can count 6 of them. So it could go either way. I'm confident, but certainly not cocky.
How's the body going to hold up?
Oh, my body will be all right. I weighed myself coming in. I was 182. I haven't been in the 180s since I'm 13 or 14. I remember going to BC as a kid. Yeah. And I weighed in the 190s at 14, but I've just been training a lot. I knew for sure, I don't want to give anything away, but there's a few scenes that we knew we were going to have our shirts off. So I just started training for that. And then I normally hate running on the side of the street, but as I lost weight, I noticed that maybe there's a reason, but now my knees aren't taking as much of a beating. Like I said, I run a lot, obviously, but I'm usually playing ball hockey games. But I got into it, and now I got a goal after Christmas. There's a race at home, 10 miles, the Telly 10, and I want to try to do a half marathon. So, I'm just going to try that, and I'm eating well and everything. Some people are like, "Oh, you look sick." I'm like, "No, you're just not used to seeing me this way. I'm eating healthy every day, and I'm running just an
you
awful
look
lot."
sick. That's what they actually.
Some people, yeah.
Yeah, it's odd today, and so, like people are, "Oh, you're skinny." I'm like, no, it's called healthy.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, it's different, right?
Yeah, I just said, I'll start running a little bit more, thin out. We're talking about normally I would be, 198 or 200. I'm not talking about that drastic of a drop here, but for me, it was a significant change. Once I made it, I figured, now I might as well. Probably never, ever, just with age, injury, just the odds of all that. Like, I'll probably never be in this prepared for a event like that again. So that's why I'm going to try it.
You are going to run a marathon in the next year.
Half.
No, but I can see it. You'll do a half. And I'm going to say it right now today on September 19th. Terry Ron's going to be like, you know what? I think I'm going to run a marathon. I'm telling you right now. I see it. I envision you running a marathon.
I hope it gets to that point, because you know what? It was something that I always just swore against, and I hate it, and I'm not going to do it. And so it's a lofty goal, but it's also a reasonable one, because in my head, I'm like, it's only to go out there and run. I'm not trying to teach myself to be a linebacker for the New England Patriots. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a possible thing. Yeah. And really, I know it's
after a while, right?
Well, and it does get like, there's something to it. I like a good rush, man. And there's something to it. Get out there, and I get up in the morning, and after my run, I feel great. I can't believe I'm saying these words, but it really does matter, those few pounds. Like, really, when I changed, I just went online and said, I'll leave it to people that are educated, and tried to do some research. And really, it's just my legs aren't taking as much of a beating. I still don't love it, but mix in the fact that it's fairly addictive with, significant weight that I'm not beating down on my body anymore. And, I hope you're right. I really do.
Now, you're not going to run, though, in cowboy boots. You're not going to be like, I could just see you, though. Here's, I know you've seen, because there's at times, you have a little bit of Kramer in you. Yeah. And, you know what? Maybe you'll wear the ribbon. Maybe you won't. But I could see old TR a night out with cigars and party, and then suddenly here he is. He's running the half marathon, barely getting across the finish line.
Yeah, the odds are definitely pretty good that something like that might happen. So we'll wait and see. But I'll tell you this: I never ever equate, like, I never realized the biggest thing here is the shoes and the cushions. So,
oh God, yeah.
In ball hockey, though, I never wear the running shoes, because, like, they're great straight on, but like, if you often roll your ankle on the big heel.
Yes.
So I just wear, like, normal, like, really, like, the basic basketball, sometimes tennis shoe that doesn't have that. But now I noticed, if I'm just riding straight ahead, my buddy was like, why don't you just put on the right shoes first? And I'm like, wow, it makes so much of a difference. I couldn't believe it. So I think I was just ignorant to it all these years.
Yeah. Lots going on. Of course, training camps all over the place that have opened up. And the Detroit Red Wings get Mo Seider at 8.55. I think it's a fair deal. It's obviously great for him. It's $60 million for a 7-year deal. And Detroit locks up their number one guy. They locked up Lucas Raymond. You know what? You're out there on the east side, and you see a lot of Toronto and Montreal and Boston and that division with Tampa and Florida and Buffalo and Ottawa. We've been talking about Buffalo and Ottawa and Detroit for I don't know how many years. People thought they're going to take a step, and they got close. But close, they're not playing horseshoe, so it doesn't really matter. Do you think any of those teams will actually make the playoffs this year?
That's a fantastic question. And you know what I'm going to give you? The answer is no, but if there is one, I would pick Ottawa. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I think you could make a case for either team, but not that either of the other ones have bad captains, but I just see Brady Tkachuk and the level of want and passion. And he's pretty, I'm not saying you can just will your team into the playoffs, but
Ottawa, I think.
I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I just turned off my camera. That's my fault.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to me. Anyway, yeah. I think they've got a leadership group that are truly, like, it might not seem it from last year, but I believe that they're more focused. And with Brady Tkachuk at the helm, I just think he brings a lot to the table, as does his similarly to his brother Matthew. And I know one player, I'm not weighing it all on one player. I'm just saying from the top down, they should have been doing better. I think Josh Norris, I got to have confidence that he's going to come back. A good friend of mine's son, I don't know Josh too well. I met him, but that's Dwayne Norris's son, a good Newfoundlander that scored the winning goal for the World Junior team the year before John Slaney. John got the big notoriety, but Dwayne did it when it was the tournament. It was just a less dramatic goal, but he scored it. And it had a great pro career, a little splash in the NHL. So I think between Tkachuk's leadership and really Josh Norris, if he's back and he's healthy, he scored 35 a couple of years ago. He's in his prime.
Yeah.
You can make a case for either, but that's what I'm going to go with because of those two things.
Okay. Terry Ryan joins us. DR, the Metro division, we had Ken Danico on the program yesterday. And you know what? Talking about how that team was disappointing last year in New Jersey, and they feel like, they got a lot to bounce back for. I look at New Jersey, and there's a lot of excitement around that team, and understandably so. But for the first time in a while, there's a little bit of concern in Carolina. Brady Shea is gone. Brett Pesce's gone. Teuvo Teravainen is gone. And I'm not sure the replacements, well, I'm pretty confident saying the replacements aren't as good. Now, they're different type of players, Walker and Gostisbehere on the back end. But I look at Carolina, and I think they're a playoff team, but I think they've slid out of my top 8 contender category. What about you?
This time last year, they were one of, I remember, I'm not kidding because I'm on this show. I remember a year ago betting on the Oilers, right at the beginning of the season. I always pick one team, and I'm not trying to butter up the Edmonton audience, but I remember flipping the coin with Carolina. Really, I really thought a year ago that they were one of the teams that had a good chance at winning the Cup. You're right. I still think, they could surprise, but when you brought up Jersey, I'm putting Jersey well ahead of them. I think they really underachieved. Now, with Markstrom being signed, the guy's hot and cold, but if he gets hot, and Hughes is back and they don't have any injuries, Dawson Mercer, good Newfoundlander, I might as well pump his tires as well. I think he had a bit of an off year. I think a lot of guys had off years. I'd be more worried this year about New Jersey. And even though the expectations were big last year, I would have taken Carolina. It's just a few players sway, but I agree with you.
Yeah. The Rangers and the Devils, it would seem like they're going to be the two teams there. But then you got a bunch of teams. Washington, TJ Oshie now, although I wasn't expecting a ton of him, but it looks like he's on LTIR. His season is over. You got the Islanders, a little bit of concern with Sorokin. Sidney Crosby's back in Pittsburgh. Their power play, I went through and I was looking up at their power play numbers last year in Pittsburgh. And my goodness, the first half of the season, they were terrible, Terry. With Malkin and Crosby and Carlson, they could do nothing. I look at the Penguins and I'm like, I don't know. I'd love to see Crosby in the playoffs, but I'm not a believer. I actually like Washington because of all the additions they made on the back end. And I think Dubois is going to have a career year in Washington. I'm going to say that right now. I like Washington. They were already in. I think they go in. What do you make of the Penguins? And if they miss again, do they have to start tearing it down?
I agree, by the way, X Factor Dubois, right? Because I think he's heard it. He must know his reputation. He must have a little bit of pride as a player. And I think for me, I just sense a little bit of, I want to go in there and prove people wrong. And that's a dangerous thing with a guy that takes up so much space. That's such a great player. Now, that being said, and what'd you ask me? Sorry.
About Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Okay, X Factor there. Not that it's much of a surprise, but I just never count him out because of Crosby. And he seems so confident and he's there. And, I'm like, does he know something I don't? But what I do know is that even though they're aged veterans, it's just they're all still playing fairly well. And I'm not confident in them, but if I had to pick a team that's not expected to make the playoffs to make it, I think they would be first, because I don't think they're expected, but I think they would be first because of the star power. And Sidney Crosby just continues to, I'm not going to say rewrite the books, but he just continues to impress. And even think about the cups that Pittsburgh has won and what they went through to get those. And there were times, I think one of those recent ones that they might have squeaked in last minute, but I certainly, the first one, didn't they fire Michel Therrien and pick up? They fired Therrien.
Well, Dan Bilesma came in.
Dan Bilesma came in. That was like February, and they won the cup after that.
I think it might have been March. Yeah, it was
might
late.
Have been. So like things like that have happened in the Pittsburgh history, and constantly, Sidney Crosby. 2 years ago, I figured, not he was done, but the numbers would start trailing a little bit, like a Tavares, right? Just start to tail off a bit. And you watch last year, you might argue he was the best two-way player he's been in 10 years. Like the guy. So he will do anything it takes to be the best possible player he can. Those kind of people are driven, and it's just a dangerous thing. Like Tom Brady, I know I'm really changing the subject, but he came out, he sounded a bit off. He seemed a bit awkward the first the first broadcast he did. The second one was a lot better.
Of course.
But I'm sure that just like he was an athlete, like he knows, he's back there documenting. I do think eventually he'll be good. I don't think it's natural, but I think it's Tom Brady, and he'll figure out a way that, I'm not going to embarrass myself here. And whatever it is Crosby's doing, who knows? But I just think that if he's set on staying there, it's not to just ride off into the twilight with the cups he already has. It's to win, to get into the playoffs, and to win with Canada. I truly believe that.
TR, the Edmonton Oilers were on the ice. They had McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, and Hyman in Group 1, their early morning one. And then they had Draisaitl with Skinner and Arvidsson. And I did a little bit of a deep dive into Jeff Skinner. So with Jeff Skinner coming to Edmonton, the Oilers now have 4 of the top 20 5-on-5 point producers over the last 3 seasons. McDavid second, Draisaitl 6th, Hyman is 18th, and then 1 point back of him is Jeff Skinner. And Jeff Skinner, this was a guy who scored 27 goals 5-on-5 one year when Victor Rask was his center and an aging Lee Stempniak. Like, this guy can score 5-on-5. He's been a very productive 5-on-5 goal scorer. He's had 65 goals the last 3 seasons 5-on-5, which is really good. I look at Noeblock, and he put Skinner with Draisaitl, which makes a lot of sense because Draisaitl, he's never really had like his guy. Matthews has Marner. McDavid has Hyman. Sometimes Draisaitl, but normally Hyman.
Yeah. And
then, of course, McKinnon has Rantanen. Draisaitl really hasn't had anybody who's in that category. Jeff Skinner is a legit 5-on-5 guy. If I'm Noeblock, and he said it, because when we asked him, he said, hey, that's my plan to keep them together, but he says things can change. I'd be ultra patient with that second line. Because if Jeff Skinner can score with Victor Rask and other guys, you can't tell me he can't produce big time with Leon Draisaitl.
And it's not just a Skinner. Do you imagine now if you're going to 2 different locker rooms that he's going to move? Like, he's going to a situation, I mean, anytime you go to play with a team that was just in the finals, let alone with McDavid and Draisaitl on it. So I see not only a Jeff Skinner that's found a new home, I see Jeff Skinner as like wanting this, and we know he can put the puck in the net. Yeah. I think he's a great offensive player. I always have. Sometimes I've thought he's one of the most underrated players around, but it's also the environment that he's playing in, right? It doesn't always command a lot of attention, but I really do. He was one of my picks. I think he's going to be, I'm definitely going to take him in my hockey pools. And I think for all the players in the league that you might talk about having a breakout year, he would be in my top 5 for sure. Hopefully having a breakout year. All the elements are there is what I'm saying.
What do you think's the key for him to get comfortable playing with Draisaitl?
I'd like you said, patience. It's sometimes I would find it hard at first to play with guys that are, you're expected to give the puck. I mean, early on, I remember I was so nervous playing with a guy like Mark Recchi or Pierre Turgeon. Not that it's the same situation. I'm just saying people have thoughts in their heads, and you come in as a player. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to be confident or anything. I mean that it probably won't click right away. Hopefully it does. But if it doesn't, I just think that match, that scientific formula of those two players will work out. Bounces are bounces. Analytics will probably tell the tale as far as chances created, but I think two of those guys really complement each other. I'd be really surprised if they didn't. I would honestly think patience, because eventually it has to work. Really, I truly believe that. A lot of the time you see these line combinations and you might try it for 2 periods, sometimes 2 or 3 games, but if you were to give me a 10-game span of those two players together, regardless of who they're playing with, nothing against Arvidsson, I think he's a great player as well. But I'm just saying, just looking at apples and oranges here, looking at Jeff Skinner and Draisaitl, I would give them a good dozen to see if it worked, because I think it will.
Yeah, for sure. TR, February 15th was the day Dan Bilesma was hired. So very accurate memory. Good on you.
Music to my ears, by the way.
By the way, how did the, before we let you go, how did the audition go?
Well, it went well, but I found out, so my buddy Ryan McDonald, who plays Michaels on the show, so he had the same audition. Cam Fergus, who's our stunt coordinator and does some acting as well, he's in Shoresy here and there as one of the opponents. He had an audition as well. So I'm realizing that I'm in tough with some great actors, and that's just the ones I know of. But the good thing, it's very much like hockey that way. Like McD, I traded, I showed him mine, he showed me his. We kind of bounce ideas off each other. In the acting world, it's assumed you're probably not. There's probably 20 people going for this, right? So the odds are not. So you tend to, I'll approach McD. How do you think I should do it? How about this? Do it this way, and this way. This is what I do, Terry, because sometimes, your own subjective view doesn't really, it's real hard to transfer that. It's good to have another actor's opinion. We help each other just like McDavid and Draisaitl would before a playoff game. It's a very symbiotic relationship we all have.
All right. Well, good luck with that, TR. We'll look forward to getting you more as we get closer. Enjoy the cup tonight, and pace yourself, okay?
I certainly will. Those are the key words right there. Pace yourself. And I really appreciate it, guys. I wish I could be on longer, but I'm in for a big weekend. Now on Tuesday, I'm back for a few weeks. We're going to have our old school 2-hour show. But thank you very much. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Edmonton. And see you guys soon.
There you go. There's TR. He will join us full time. We're getting closer. Hey, you know what? They're still in the off season for him, but doing auditions, playing ball hockey, having fun. Quick break. We will return. Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Ooh, another injury. We'll get to that. Also, Chicago Blackhawks, lots of changes. How much better will they be? Connor Bedard, who's his best line mates for all of you fantasy players? We'll find out next.
Ain't it beautiful? There's electricity in the air. Carrie Dahl here for Volvo of Edmonton, where the Volvo XC40 and C40 fully electric vehicle is now in stock, along with a great selection of Volvo T8 hybrid models. Experience the trusted Volvo quality and technology to power into tomorrow at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
It's the final week of the Brick's famous tent sale, and everything must go. Take up to 70% off clearance items in the tent and store, and find amazing deals in every other department before it's too late. Take up to $1,400 off sectionals, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 50% off mattresses. Hurry in while the tents are still up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
It all began in 2006.
Edmonton's premier live music and party venue was born.
Well, guess what? We're now legal age.
On the Rocks is turning 18.
Party with us tomorrow night
As we celebrate our 18th birthday.
Happy birthday.
Enjoy Sound Station.
Live music from the Arcana King.
And a chance to win $500 cash.
Thank you for an amazing 18 years.
On the Rocks.
OTR's 18th birthday tomorrow night.
On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Rule number 41, never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Get ready, Edmonton. The country sensation, the Reclaws, are coming to the Edmonton Expo Center Arena on October 3rd. It's your chance to see the award-winning duo that's taken the country scene by storm. From Long Live the Night to Feels Like That, the Reclaws are bringing the party to you during Yeggs Rodeo Week. Don't miss out. Pre-sale tickets available from now until September 16th at EdmontonExpoCenter.com. Public on sale begins September 19th at 10 a.m. The Reclaws at Edmonton Expo Center Arena on October 3rd.
.328. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. And of course, teams around the NHL all on the ice. Today, training camps underway. Thursday, Play Alberta. You know what's underway? The Daily Grand. Get your tickets. PlayAlberta.ca. $1,000 a day for 20 years. Woo. Have a lot of fun with that. 7.2 million if you want to do the math. Nice. Let's go to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Super Hockey League. It's a great opportunity for cross-province and inter-provincial competition with a major focus on development. Learn more at hockeysuperleague.ca as we are joined by a gentleman who has an arena named after him in St. Albert. Of course, pride of St. Albert, longtime NHLer. A great career, and now longtime analyst for the Chicago Blackhawks. Troy Murray joins us once again. Troy, welcome back to the show, my man. How are you?
Well, I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Much appreciated.
Always appreciate it. The Blackhawks, lots of changes in the offseason. They had the big announcement yesterday that Nick Foligno is their new captain. You know what? They're not necessarily bringing it. There'll be a few young guys, but they've tried to insulate Connor Bedard, I think, with a few more veteran players for sure. They went out and got Teravainen back in the organization, Bertuzzi, and others. Obviously, most of us are expecting them to be better, Troy. How much growth are you expecting from this group?
You know, it's a good question, and I just, you know, when you look at the group of players that they've assembled this year, it's going to be a much more veteran-laden lineup. You know, you kind of mentioned that Nick Foligno being named captain today. I had a press conference today, and Foligno kind of addressed the fact that, as you know, the leadership group last year, with a lot of young guys that they put into the lineup last year, they had to do a lot more mentoring, a lot more teaching. And he doesn't feel that that's quite going to be quite the same situation this year with the additions of guys like Bertuzzi, Patrick Maroon, 3-time Stanley Cup winner. You brought in Craig Smith, a veteran player, Martinez. He's won 3 Stanley Cups, TJ Brody, so they did surround this group of players that they had last year a little bit better, and that'll insulate Connor Bedard, I think, a little bit more than it did last year. And I think that this team overall, the team, Jason, last year worked hard every game. That was one constant. I give a lot of credit to Luke Richardson and the coaching staff. These guys worked hard, but they just didn't have the skill. They didn't have the talent to match up against teams. That was just kind of the fact, but the effort was there. Now you've kind of put in a lineup that has much more NHL experience. There's not a lot of jobs for the younger players. And as it seems right now Kyle Davidson wants a majority of these young players, whether they even played with the Blackhawks last year or not, a guy like Kevin Korchinski, unless he does something spectacular, I think they want him to go back to Rockford and just play again as a 20-year-old. I mean, it was a tough season last year with some of the off-ice issues that he had to deal with. Give him a ton of credit for how he handled it. But, just put him in a position where he can really play his game again and have some fun, play big minutes in key situations, and be that guy down in Rockford. And all these guys, Frank Nazar, who had a sniff at the end of the year after finishing his season in Michigan, Oliver Moore, a young player who's in with the Minnesota Golfers. These players are all going to, in 2-3 years, be in a position to fill a big role for the Blackhawks. But in the meantime, they have added a lot of experience. They want to develop that culture. They want to surround Connor Bedard with a lot more maturity this year, sprinkled throughout the lineup. And I think they've done an excellent job to put them in a position where they can develop the players that will be here for the majority of their careers, that core group of guys. Let them hone their skills at the right pace in the minors, if that's the case, and if need be.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a smart move, right? I've seen teams when they're in rebuilds and everybody, we got to get the young guys experience. And then a lot of the young guys just get their teeth kicked in and they lose their confidence. Troy, you played for a long time. If you don't have confidence, I don't care where you're drafted. It's irrelevant where you're drafted when all of a sudden you're in the NHL and you got no confidence. It's not like, well, I'm a first round pick. I got a lot of confidence. It's not necessarily how it works.
And it's not an easy game. I mean, it's just not. And there's always somebody who comes in training camp and does that wow factor. You go back to my first training camp, it was Steve Larmer, who was getting sent to the minors. The next day, they decided, well, let's give him one game with Dennis Savard. Scored a hat trick in that game. Never left the NHL for how many years?
Yeah.
Nobody expected Steve Larmer to be in the lineup. So unless one of these young players really kind of sets themselves apart from everybody else.
Yeah.
They want all these young players to go down, to grow together. Del Mastro, a defenseman, Nolan Allen, a defenseman. Guys got like Isaac Phillips, Louis Crevier. They've got lots of talent in the minors, but not quite NHL ready. So they've put in a buffer here for a couple years. And, for a guy like Lucas Reichel, who's had a couple kicks at the can, this is going to be a critical training camp for him preseason to see where he fits in, because, he's got to kind of find some ice time with some guys they brought in who have a better idea of what it takes and to have that consistency. So there is a lot of kind of things on the line here as far as like who gets penciled into where. I think that when you look at it, and they went out and got Bertuzzi, and I talked about all these guys, and so did you. But a guy like Taylor Hall coming back in, he missed all last year except for 10 games. It's like getting another NHL veteran player who's been an MVP, and he's ready to go. He feels healthy, so that's a big addition to the lineup as well. Patrick Maroon, I think, has that element that they want to have. The Corey Perry situation last year, he was kind of brought in to be that type of player, bring people into the fight. Patrick Maroon is really excited to be in Chicago. He has that pedigree of understanding what it takes to win. And I think Kyle Davidson has done an excellent job here in filling some roles that kind of needed to be filled with more veteran NHL players. And then look at Martinez on the back end. He was paired up with Seth Jones. I think that's what they kind of want to lean to, have Martinez and Seth Jones be that number one pairing that plays against the other team's top lines. You had Vlasic last year, who had an excellent rookie season, and he was a guy that had to develop in the minors for a year and a half or so, playing with TJ Brody, another guy who knows what it takes to play in the NHL, and Connor Murphy, third pairing with Wyatt Kaiser, who went back and played in Rockford last year and did extremely well. So maybe he's ready to find that role. So I think that they've done a nice job, and I think when you look at overall, the plan, as you say, Jason, is kind of develop Connor Bedard at the right pace and some of these younger players. By surrounding Bedard with a lot more NHL experience, I think it'll make it a lot more easier on him this year, and hopefully he can just continue to excel like he did last year.
Troy Murray joins us, analyst for the Chicago Blackhawks. What about, like, one of the other young players that's going to be around is Lukas Reichel. And, last year was a tough year for him. It was a tough year for a lot of people, but, young guys can have that time, Troy. Now they got to bounce back. What do you need to see from Reichel this year?
That's a great question, because he's been given opportunities, and at times he's looked really good. He's a very talented player. He was drafted as a centerman. They kind of penciled him in originally as a centerman, but he struggled at the NHL level in the center position. Mm-hmm. You're going to give Connor Bedard the benefit of the doubt in some of the things that he is going to have to learn firsthand by playing the games defensively, one-on-one matchups with the other team's top players or top defensive shutdown. Reichel just seemed to struggle in those areas. So they had to move him to wing. Didn't produce offensively the way that he needed to. And he's got to be a top six forward. He's not a third line type of guy, not a fourth line guy. He's got to fit into that top six. So it's a big opportunity for him this year to step in. He's put on some weight. Seems like he's a little bit more mature in just how he's kind of handling himself. But everybody's going to be looking at Lukas Reichel, because they have other guys that can fill into those roles. And if he doesn't play well, I don't know what's going to happen. Where's his future with the Blackhawks? He has shown that when he's gone down to the American Hockey League level, when he plays the way that he can and has that consistency, he's probably at times too good to play at that level. But he needs to show it at this level. And, I think he's only 21 years of age, so he's still very young. But every year that you don't make it, there's another draft pick. There's another guy, that prospect, that is fighting for a job. And so he's really got to decide if he wants to play in the NHL with the Blackhawks, and what's he going to do to make sure that happens is what's going to be seen here in training camp and preseason games.
Troy, what about goaltending? How do you see that? Is it going to be a 50-50 split or close to? Is that what you're expecting?
I would say it's going to be a little bit more in favor of Mrazek, but obviously they didn't get any production out of Arvid Soderblom last year, and that was a big concern, because Mrazek played extremely well for the Hawks last year, but probably overworked a little bit with Brossoit coming in here, and he's banged up a little bit, not participating in camp and not 100% sure when he's going to be available. But Soderblom's going to go down, and he'll be in the minors. Drew Comesso is a highly touted kind of prospect out of the East Coast. And so I think that it's, I would say maybe, a 60-40 type of split as far as percentages wise. Brossoit is certainly going to get an opportunity to play. And they need it. Every team in the NHL needs production from their backup goaltender, or it's a tough struggle. If you only have one guy, and if you ride that guy, you've seen it so many times that all of a sudden, that fatigue sets in. It seems like teams that are successful now have that 1A and then a good 1B backup to give that opportunity of rest and be prepared, for the next game when need be. So I think the goaltending situation is going to be much better than it was last year.
Troy, as always, man, great to talk to you again. We appreciate it. We look forward to chatting you throughout the year, and enjoy training camp and preseason.
Much appreciated for having me on, Jason. I hope you had a great summer. We'll talk soon.
You betcha. That is Troy Murray. Had a heck of a career. Big pride of St. Albert, of course. You got the Messier Arena, the Troy Murray, Jerome McGinley. Not bad. Not bad. Colton Parayko get a rink? Maybe if they get a new one, you never know. He's had himself quite the career as well, including a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues. Oh, it's like 5 years ago since they won. Crazy. When we return, oh, baby, the race is on. It's legit for the first time in a long time. Who doesn't love a good competition? May the best man win. Discuss it next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. You can also text us in our E-Well inbox, 833-401-1440. E-Well, your partner in power since 1976, where you can get all your electrical gear at EWEL.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
When it comes to your health, trust Dr. Bryce Henderson for expert care in hip and knee replacements. With years of experience and advanced techniques, Dr. Henderson helps you regain your mobility and quality of life.
Your health is my priority. Let's get you back to doing what you love.
Put your health in the hands of a trusted expert. Book your consultation with Dr. Henderson today. Visit vitalsurgicalspecialist.ca or call 587-391-7864.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg, worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car, and that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge, and I hope you, yes you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
Diablo Boots in Canada West. Two great names in working cowboy boots. For over 60 years, Diablo has been selling the best-made Canadian boots. Diablo has boots from sizes 6E to size 15 EE, just for you. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Justin, or Red Wing, when Diablo has the best quality for less, made in Canada? Diablo has working cowboy boots with replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So, save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard, on the east side of Save On Foods. Hurry in today for best selection.
Oh, that is a great tune. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440. Sports1440.ca, Orders Nation, YouTube and Facebook and X and Instagram. Thanks for watching and listening to the show. If you missed it earlier, Vladdy Guerrero 2 home runs today. Nice, man. He is, now he had a little bit of a, of course, you're not going to be red hot as long as he was, but man, you look at his numbers overall in this season, and he's put himself, in top 10 in a lot of the offensive categories. There's obviously Ohtani and Witt Jr. and Soto and Judge, who are pretty much the top 4 in most. But in a lot of those, Guerrero is either in the top 4 in some of them or right outside of it. He is, and this is after a really pedestrian start for him. So I kind of wonder how much he's going to get for the Jays. The big question is, what would you do with Bo Bichette? I'm curious where Jays fans come out on Bo Bichette. Now, he's been injured, so there's a lot of kind of out of sight, out of mind right now. Maybe that lowers the number on his contract, but I wonder where people like his bat, no question about it, but can he swing? Can he defend? That's a question for me. So we shall see. Now let's get to the racing report, brought to you by Can Torque, where right now they offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Check it out at cantorque.com as Colin Livingston joins us once again. CL, how you doing?
It's another day in paradise.
It's nice. Well, you golfed. Can't be that bad.
I mean, it's a rare day when I kind of take a day off midweek. But just kind of chalked up a day of fun, snuck out for only my second round of golf at my home course, and now we get to talk a little bit about motorsports.
It's pretty expensive round per cost, I would think, this year.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that, but I still have a couple of weeks to bring the yearly total up and bring my cost per round, under my current threshold.
Now, we'll get to that race of, all of a sudden Red Bull's not leading the Constructors Series, so there's a race there for sure. What did you make of Norris getting knocked out in Q1, and it turns out that it was the warning wasn't actually an error by FIA? Well, now he ends up 4th in the race, but he came back all the way from 17, so great job by him. But like when they make that error, there's nothing you can do after the fact.
No, there's nothing that can be done because they didn't really analyze it till after qualifying was done. And, once they make their decision, and once he saw that on the dash, McLaren also has to take a bit of responsibility because they left him until the very end of Q1 to go out and try and get his time, instead of knowing or being confident enough to know, the track's getting faster, but we've got a fast car. Let's get they got their what's called the banker lap in, where they go out on generally older tires. But yeah, I mean, it's just an unfortunate break that they just didn't time it correctly. And I think Lando's also making the point that a lot of people have seen the double yellow flags, which if you get a yellow, it's just a warning because you see it if it's in it. And a lot of guys, the rule with the single yellow is you don't really have to slow down, but you can't overtake anyone. When you get the double, you have to slow down a bit. Lewis, a couple of years ago, I can't remember, I want to say it was in Austria. He drove through that, but he was on his way to the checkers and had his lap time deleted, and he had similar things. So, the rule is in effect for everyone. Unfortunately, it was a mistake, but, this is it. They still have a few races to try and close the gap.
Well, the gap is closed in the Constructors Series. Now, Norris only gained 3 points on Max, so you know what? Obviously, that's not ideal in that race. Now, the Constructors Series is, in theory, more important because of how much money the teams get, correct?
The prize money is based on the constructors, yeah.
Okay. So, if you're, and I know that McLaren came out and said, hey, Piastri is going to be number 2 in those situations. But for them, they're like, hey, we got a guy starting at the top. We got a guy starting 17th. And hey, they ended up 1st and 4th. So, they're doing cartwheels, especially. What did you make of Sainz and Perez? Who's at fault there? Or is that just, sometimes you got to race? What'd you make of it?
Without question, I think Perez has to take the majority of the blame for that.
Okay.
Sainz, as he said, he maintained his normal driving line, came out of the corner, didn't have a good entrance to the corner. He had tried to go on the outside of his teammate Leclerc, got into the marbles, no grip, which gave Perez a good run on the inside. He pulled off the wall a little bit, as the FIA even documented that he did that every single lap, which you have to do. You can't run up against the wall. Like it's for people who've never driven a car, they don't really pay that close of attention. F1 cars, Indy cars, these open wheel cars throw so much air off their front wing, and they're throwing so much off.
Okay.
If you're up against the wall, it's called buffeting, and it's like being hit in the side with like a jackhammer. It's not pleasant. So you definitely have to drift. Perez, he's still in behind. Sainz was definitely ahead, and as Sainz started to drift, Perez didn't move. Like there was still like 3 lanes of traffic to the inside. But he just held his line, like kind of, extended the middle finger and said, like, go ahead and hit me. He didn't really he didn't defend at all. He didn't move because they were also both trying to stay in the slipstream of Leclerc to try and get to the next corner. Really, this is kind of the second time this has happened to Sainz this year, because the same thing happened in Monaco earlier in the year. But he managed to come back from that one. But at the end of the day, there was no penalty, there was no points. FIA deemed it a racing incident, but it definitely sent Checo into the stratosphere, like by far and away the most expensive driver on the grid for his crash damage this year.
What did you make of Vassar's assessment of Leclerc in that race?
I think he was bang on, because they wanted to, the question was asked of him after the race, like, you guys had a 6-second lead going into that pit stop, and he came out with only a 1-second lead. And, he said, well, the pit stop was actually good, but the in lap and the out lap were really too conservative. So he really, without saying it, he put the blame back on Leclerc, because he didn't charge in and he was too conservative as he left. That's where the time went. And then once Piastri was on his bumper, he took the Hail Mary as they went into turn 1. Even Piastri said, like, when he made the move on Leclerc, he said it was 50-50 if he was going to come out the other side or if he was going to slide into the wall.
Yeah.
Made it stick, did a masterful job of dictating the pace. He knew where that Ferrari was quicker, but he knew where he was quicker. He knew where the passing zones were. So he was able to back him up a little bit in the area that he couldn't pass, so that when they finally got onto the front straightaway, he was able to discharge his battery. And, with this, the McLaren cars really come under scrutiny, because now not only do they have their front wing really flexing, but they've figured out how to get their rear wing to flex a little bit on the straightaway, which is kind of giving them an additional DRS effect.
Now, the McLaren wing, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, that's something it's not gonna come up this weekend, because Singapore just it doesn't have the straight line speed of like a Baku. But when they get to Austin, once this next 1 month break is over, they're really going to have to put that car under scrutiny, because the reason why one of the reasons they become so fast in a straight line is, again, when their wing is laying, like they get up to speed before the DRS zone, the wing is kind of laying down and it's actually opening a little bit. Like there's a little gap, so it's allowing more air and less drag while they're in a straightaway. It's kind of, it's going, I think they're going to end up determining it's going too far.
So but if they don't do it and then they have the month break, then when do you fix it? When do you change it?
They'll have to, basically they're going to have to analyze it during the Austin race again. And then they'll have to come up with some kind of judgment that says, hey, listen, we've determined that this is going too far. You have to fix it for the next race. If it keeps doing it, they'll be disqualified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Third time in 4 years, Paolo wins the outright in IndyCar, points leader overall. Why is he never up, or was he up for discussion as somebody who would go to F1?
He's definitely in contention. He's still one of McLaren's reserve drivers. He's done off-season testing with those guys. There's still a stigma for Formula One drivers. I mean, it doesn't, or for IndyCar drivers to get to Formula One, it happens, you know, if your last name's Villeneuve, if you're Juan Montoya, you know, there've been a couple that made it over, but it's really hard to build up through IndyCar. It's hard to build up the super license points. So even if you're deemed to be a good enough driver, they kind of almost expect you to go from, you know, the top level of open wheel being IndyCar into like F2, which nobody would ever take that move backwards. So it's really, really tough now for drivers to make it over there. But yeah, he had a great race. He's just very calculating. He doesn't take a lot of chances. He doesn't put his car in bad positions. And, you know, while we said that there needed to be some bad luck, you know, for him, unfortunately for our friend Willie Power,
he had the bad luck.
He had the bad luck with the seatbelt coming undone. Now, there are drivers out there that would have kept going, and they would have said, like, listen, I'm not going to give up on this championship because I know if I have to pit for this, it's all over. You know, I applaud Will because he knew that, you know, he's not willing to risk his life for another championship. And if something bad happened, you know, it was his lower, I think it was his lower left lap belt. If you end up in a crash, you end up in the wall, you're likely going to die.
And quite the story involving the FBI.
Yeah.
Raiding the headquarters of Rahal Letterman Lanigan after they hired a former Andretti senior engineer. And allegedly, he took some sensitive information with him to RL. Like, I'm like, wow, this is what the FBI is doing? Like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, Andretti seems to have a really good connection with all the federal agencies because they're also having F1 and the FIA investigated for unfair trade practices with Andretti's bid to join the grid in 2026. And now, when you know, we have a really good friend, he's basically the top guy at Andretti, Mr. Rob Edwards. We raced with Rob. He was the team manager back to when Alex was still running with Fast Racing and Brian Hurt Automotive. Rob is as honest and ethical as they come. He's a very, very good man. But when he was asked yesterday if they had anything to do with arranging it, he just said no comment. So I think they know that something sensitive walked out the door with that employee. I don't know what the timing was of how long that guy's been with them, but you know, Rahal has really struggled.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely going to be some fallout if whatever they think was in that guy's possession is actually found. That in Formula One, that happened a while ago, that one of Ferrari's tech manuals ended up at Renault, resulted in $100 million fine. Now
$100 million?
Yeah, that's I can't put my thumb on the timing. That goes back like 10, 12 years back to when you know, Jean Todt and Russ Braun were running Ferrari, and you know, Flavio Briatore was running Renault, and yeah, they ended up with their tech manual because somebody left. I can't remember the full details, so I'm going to get this wrong, but part of it was that they made copies in a Kinko's, like in a public photocopy place, and someone took a look and said, I don't think this is the kind of thing that you should have, and they actually called, and that's what blew the whistle. Yeah. Now, again, somebody maybe knows the story better than me, but it was to that extent. But yeah, it was $100 million fine for that kind of you know, intellectual property theft.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
I could tell you who it is if you want. McLaren was hit with a fine.
Oh, sorry.
And they lost their Constructors Championship, whatever we call it, 800 pages of confidential Ferrari information.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's lost the Constructor Series and the fine. Now that's a legitimate penalty.
That's the kind of penalty that other people took a look at, and it definitely becomes a deterrent going forward.
I would think so. Is it worth $100 million? Maybe not. Maybe not. Colin, good stuff, man. We got one final race. We'll talk about that next week, of course. And there's a little bit of a time off in F1, but Singapore should be interesting.
We're going to have to get creative here for a couple of weeks.
Well, there's lots to talk about. We appreciate it. There you go. That's Colin Livingston, the Race Report, brought to you by Can Torque. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Fountain Tire is teamed up with Sports Central this month, and you can help them. Looking for used bikes, maybe bikes that are broken down, you want to get rid of? Well, donate them because they have the mechanics to fix them so kids can get a bike. Just think about all the great times you had on a bike. So if you have one, you want to get rid of it, they can fix it. Drop it off. Fountain Tire locations or Sports Central. Just go to sports1440.ca and you'll see all the locations near you. It's Saturday from 10 a.m. until 3.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
The Detroit Red Wings have signed restricted free agent defenseman Maurice Sutter to a 7-year, $59.85 million contract extension. Sutter, just 23 years old, appeared in all 82 games last season with Detroit. He had 9 goals for 42 points. In Anaheim, they have named Radko Gudas as the 9th captain in team history. First wear of the C since Ryan Getzlaf back in 2022. And Blue Bombers linebacker Adam Bakel announced today that he'll undergo season-ending knee surgery. The 35-year-old last played on September 1st against the Rough Riders. The Bombers are in town this weekend to take on the Edmonton Elks. In the NFL, Week 3 kicks off with the Jets hosting the Patriots down at the MetLife Stadium. This one gets going just after 6:15. Major League Baseball, Vlad Guerrero Jr., 2 home runs for the Bluebirds as they knocked off the Rangers 4-0. They'll now head out to Florida, take on the Rays in a weekend series. A couple games going on right now. Mariners up on the Yankees 3-2 in the 6th, and in the 5th, the Dodgers lead the Marlins 7-1. Later today, Phillies taking on the Mets. Cards host the Pirates, Nationals in Chicago, and the Astros hosting the Anaheim Angels. WNBA tonight, Sun Sky got the Dream taking on the Liberty. Mystics host the Fear. The Sparks head to Minneapolis to take on the Lynx. Aces host the Wings, and the Storm in the Desert battling the Mercury. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, last 5 questions, and be joined by the kicker of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, former Elk, Sergio Castillo. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina. Next, you're going to tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they won't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Often when I meet people at a party or I'm hanging out at my favorite restaurants, I'll introduce myself and they'll say, "Oh, you're Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physio. What can I do about this sore knee? It's been bugging me for months." First, I was thinking, when I'm out like this, I should just tweet my location so people know where to come for a consultation. But then I thought, I'm spending all this money on
now I had a little bit
of
health is my priority.
Our clinics. That's where we have the technology and really smart physio. All right, babe. All the advice and treatment you need. Have your people call my people. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night stays these fine folks from the swift completion of their appointed work, or something like that. They're the fine folks at GS Construction, and they do like to do their job, which could be infrastructure rehabilitation, water and drainage solutions, land development, general contracting, and dedicated maintenance and emergency repairs. Interested in working for such a fine outfit? GS Construction is always on the lookout for great workers. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
sipping gin and juice. Just trying to stay cool. And I'm sweating buckets bigger than a swimming pool. Cruise to Heritage Mall to enjoy some AC. Then my shorty hears the homies from Legacy. I say, listen, yo, where we gonna get the dough to pay Legacy from the radio? He says, Legacy Heating's got a deal that's the bomb with no interest or payments flipping all year long. No money, no problems. That's the life that I choose. Chillaxing with thousands of BTU. Doing whatever the heck that was. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and the time to think about winterizing your RV is before the snow flies. There's a lot of steps you need to take to winterize your trailer or motorhome.
And you have to get every step right every single time. Right, Rick?
That's right, Bob, because if you make even a little mistake, you might not realize it till spring. By then, it's too late to fix what you got wrong.
Hey, Rick, do you winterize your own trailer?
Not anymore, Bob. I hired people who are smarter than me. Genius technicians who check every component. Dozens of systems to be maintained and protected. And today, we offer that service to you, starting at $99. Every winterization package comes with a full report in writing, so you know what to expect come spring. If you're confident to do it yourself, have at it. If you're like me and you'd rather have this done by somebody who knows what they're doing, then come to No Bull, and we'll take care of you.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Just after 4 o'clock. How are you doing? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook as we roll through. Busy Thursday as the Oilers, one step closer to preseason. They'll be back on the ice tomorrow. 2 sessions again, one at 9:30 till 11. The second group will go out from 12 until 1:30. And then they'll do the same thing again on Saturday. And then Sunday is fan day. Many of you will be going down there, some autograph sessions, some locker room sale. And then preseason is here. The Oilers against the Jets. We've had a lot of texts at 833-401-1440 in our email inbox wondering about lineups already. I can tell you I don't know. I will say this, though. So the Oilers are playing usually at home. You get a few more of the big names. Now, McDavid and Draisaitl, I would think one line is going to play Sunday. The other line is going to play Monday in the home games. Neither one of the Oilers' top 2 lines are going to head to Calgary on that Monday night. So I think you'll have some players who play Sunday at home who will then get an opportunity to go on the road in Calgary on Monday. Because you think about it, well, they're going to need 40 players, goalies included, for Monday. And then however many are going to be playing on Sunday. They don't have 60. So there'll be some who play Sunday and Monday, but it's not going to be any of the big names. So I don't see it being a big veteran. Maybe now, like if Raphael Lavoie, I would have my hand up. Coach, me, over here. That's what I'd be doing if I was Raphael Lavoie. 100%. That's guy, he wants to play. And the thing for him is, if you play at home against Winnipeg, great. Honestly, for Raphael Lavoie, you want to play in Calgary on Monday because you're likely to have more NHL competition. The home team in the preseason plays more of their NHL roster. It's just how it is. So if I'm Lavoie, I don't take it as a negative. I look at it as, here's a chance for me to go, probably if I'm going to get some penalty kill time. I'd rather penalty kill in the preseason against the Flames NHL power play guys rather than their AHL power play guys. Right? I think that's just common sense for me. I'm trying to make the team. I want to get as many opportunities against NHL players. Now, it's not going to be every shift, of course. But if I'm Raphael Lavoie, that is what I am gunning for without question. Now, let's get to Chris Noeblock. We'll get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton.com, where you can stop in. You can save $4,000 on specific vehicles, $8,000 on any 2024 XC90s. Pretty good savings, man. I love the XC90. Whoa. Especially if you got the extra room, you fold down that third row, and you can chuck in lots of hockey gear. If you're a coach or if you're a parent, you got multiple kids, groceries, whatever you name it. Maybe you got to go get something at the store. Connor Halley, he's loading up his cribs. Got the new crib. Whatever you need, you can get at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Some space. Plug it. They don't sell cribs though. Just so you know. Now, Noeblock. We heard about Robbie Yarventi earlier. And here's Noeblock on the search for a partner for Darnell Nurse.
That is an important factor of camp through exhibition to find that ideal partner. But I think first thing that needs to be done is find the best player or best players to make this team, and not necessarily find the best partner for Darnell first. We want to find out who's the best to make this team. We've got several guys that have an opportunity to do that. And then once we find out which players, then we'll find out the partner. So I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves and say we need to find that partner for Darnell right away. And because also Darnell's not going to play the first few exhibition games. He'll probably sit out the couple just with his rehab, and maybe later on the exhibition, then we'll be really seeing who his partner should be.
Yeah, that's fair, right? I think we'll find out now. Can we read in too much the fact that Ty Emberson got a first look? Not really. I think if you're looking at it objectively, I think Emberson's probably the one that makes the most sense. Now, Troy Stecher has way more NHL experience. But it doesn't have the size of Emberson, the physicality, and in the minutes that Nurse plays. And the fact that Nurse's partner, ideally, if you can have him as the same guy who plays them on the penalty kill, it just allows more continuity to be built. So I understand. We mentioned earlier how Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, and McDavid stay together. I think that makes sense. Noeblock goes into a little bit more detail on Arvidsson and Skinner with Draisaitl, the expectations, why he's doing it.
Well, I think the most important thing is just being able to get the puck in Darnell, or we're just talking about Leon's hands. Those skilled players, you want to get them and being able to make plays, and that's first thing. Being able to get in on the forecheck, another thing, scoring goals. But I think with their experience and just their ability to play hockey, they're good quality NHL players, and they've had successful careers. I think they'll just complement Leon's game a lot. And, again, they're going to complement. They're going to be good players for our team. Right now they are playing with Leon, but maybe next week it might be somebody else. But we're adding two good quality players. They're going to help our team.
The head coach gave you his first impressions of Matthew Savoie.
I thought he had a really good day. I was able to go to the rookie tournament. Got to see him play for the two first games. You can tell he's a smart player, can score goals, great shots. I think he's a player that can complement skilled players. Now, is he NHL ready? He has the skills. Is there other parts of his game that he has to add to be ready for the NHL? We'll find out through camp, and especially through the exhibition games. He'll have a great opportunity to get a lot of ice time and playing opportunities.
What's interesting about him is he's been playing on the wing, because I think if you look big picture long term, that's probably where he's going to be as an NHLer, is on the wing. So I'll be curious, though. Are they just doing it in camp? Or are we going to see him? Yeah, he'll probably play a few preseason games at both, maybe. But I'm more going to be interested in where do they play him regularly when he's down in Bakersfield? Center or wing? Hey, guys, how about get rid of Nurse and get 2 new defensemen? Rod. Oh, Rod, he has a full no movement clause. How you going to do that? I understand the theory behind it. What about the reality of it? I'm not, and he's got a full no movement clause. No, guys with no movement clause being moved before. I get it, but I don't see it happening just yet. But I won't rule it out in the future. I'll say that. I don't think it's a lock that he's there all the time. Now this year, even for Chris Noeblock, a little bit different. This is his first NHL training camp as a head coach. Of course, he came in last November. He joked about when he came in the other day when he was at the Glendale. He joked about how, you know what, geez, when I came in, the team wasn't going very well. He goes, hey, if things went wrong, there wasn't going to be a lot of pressure on me. He goes, now it's different, right? People are expecting where we went last year, the coach he had, what do you do? So he just talked about kind of what he's looking to implement now that he's the main man from day one.
Well, you always, this is a time to do a lot of teaching. And we want to do our teaching in the video room, tell them this is exactly what we're doing. And then we have a lot of drills specifically designed to implement those systems. I've been to training camps where they've been extremely hard, where you're almost killing the guys and it ends up being a lot of injuries. I've been to training camps where there's a lot of teaching. It's really slow. It's painful for the players. So it's kind of a little bit of both, where we're trying to keep the tempo upbeat and players moving, but being out there with a purpose, and we're not just killing them.
Makes sense. I'd love to know which training camp he was at, where it was just slow and it was painful for the players. Might have to dig in about that. Now, Podkolzin, who I'm going to go on a limb right now today. After listening to Podkolzin speak today, he is going to become a little bit of a cult hero amongst Oilers fans. There was they fell in love with Clean Costin. Now, kind of what at some of his press conferences, but how he played, scored some big goals, heavy shot, big fighter, physical. They loved it all. Podkolzin, his first press conference, first of all, is a young Russian who speaks English that well. Good for him. And he was very honest. And he talked about how he just, the last years he felt like he was just thinking, not reacting, thinking, overthinking. So the head coach was asked about Podkolzin, how do you help a young player correct and eliminate the overthinking?
I just building up confidence in them. Tell them the things that they are doing well, encouraging that, because often players are doing more good than bad. Coaches tend to point out the bad, and they feel that they're doing more bad than good. So, he's new, and we got to spend some time with him. With the captain skates, got to see him a little bit. Today, my first day with him on the ice. I think he's an exceptional young player. I think he's got a lot of promise. You saw that in his rookie year, how well he played. Things didn't go as well since that first year, but we feel that we can build him up and get that same game that he, early when he showed a lot of the promise.
He's still a really young player. And his rookie season, was spectacular. Now, I think some people have to just kind of forget the fact that he was a 10th overall pick. It's really irrelevant till now. There's no connection to where you were in your draft year to where you are today as an NHL player. It doesn't, it might benefit you to get you a little bit extra look, because some people are like, oh, geez, 10th overall pick. There's got to be something there, man. We can unlock it. So I understand that. But it's really like, that's 5 years removed. Now, it's far from him being a player who can't improve by any stretch of the imagination. Right? Like, it's not like he's being a bust in his draft year. Like, if you look, he's still, I think in goals he has 18, which would probably rank him in his draft class around like 21st, 22nd. I don't know where his 35 points would put him, maybe a little bit lower. than that, just because D-men will probably be a little bit higher, but maybe not. I'd have to go look. So it's not like he's a write-off. And he still has that potential. But the big thing will be, can we get him back step by step up to him just being an impactful bottom six guy? Do that for a year or two. Then you can work your way up. And we've seen that happen lots. So, but I don't think it has to be, well, geez, this guy's a 10th overall pick. He's got to score 25 goals this year. It's disappointment. I think that's kind of unrealistic. 420, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Cons, what's your expectation of old Podkolzin?
I mean, I'm not exactly sure. He's one of those guys I am very intrigued by to see what he can do. And a lot of the Canucks fans and reporters that I saw said, maybe it is just a case where he does need a change of location and another chance to kind of clear his head. And I totally agree with you. I mean, we get to a certain point here and the first round label doesn't matter. That's not something that he needs to worry about anymore. It's a new market. It's a new fan base. It's a new team to just go out there and play your game. And if he can play a physical presence, slot into that bottom six, who knows, maybe in a pinch get called up because, we've heard he does have a nice shot, maybe work on the release a little bit, but I'm very intrigued by him to see what he can do. It's a spark in the arm because he's going to go to a team that is going to be a contender and go on a run this season. So I don't know what the expectations are, but I'm excited to see what he can do.
Awesome. Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Sergio Castillo. We'll talk a little football. A big game coming up on Saturday, baby. Do you want to go? We got a pair of seats to the Elks game. So if you would like to go to the Elks game on Saturday, 5 o'clock, Texas, 833-401-1440. Very simple. Just put your name and the Elks. Now, if you want to say something nice to Connor, never know. A little buttering up never hurt you. 833-401-1440. It's Gregor. It's Halley. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. You can get in on, of course, Thursday night football, the Jets and the Patriots. The Jets, 6.5-point favorites. What do you think? Can they do it? The Patriots defense has been really good. Man, the Patriots, they rush the ball right now. Don't throw a lot, but they can run it. Will be a low-scoring affair. Try it all out. PlayAlberta.ca.
Booster Juice has a secret. It's a secret menu of secret smoothies you can only see on the Booster Rewards app. Oh, wait. Guess it's not a secret anymore. Visit any Booster Juice and ask for the strawberry dip, the berry bloom, the go mango, the raspberry rapture, or the ocean's tide. Made with blueberries, passion fruit, guava, and vanilla frozen yogurt. The Secrets app. Tell anyone you want. Find the exclusive secret smoothie menu on the Booster Rewards app and sneak into a Booster Juice near you.
So you've decided you want to start hiking. Nobody would say, I'll just wear my kids' flip-flops until I have more experience. The first thing you do is buy the right shoe size and style to fit you. Same with golf. You can't just buy clubs off the rack. They won't be the right size or style for you. Only Fitted Golf works with you to identify your swing style and then matches your clubs exactly to that swing. Check out our Instagram and YouTube channel to see the success others have with clubs fit to their swing. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Ain't it beautiful? What does excellence mean to you, and how does it impact your decisions? Friends, it's Carrie Dahl, and I know that at Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't an option, it's their everything. From customer satisfaction and sales, service, inventory, and retention, they excel in all. Congratulations, Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners.
Volvo of Edmonton.
It's the final week of the Bricks famous tent sale, and everything must go. Take up to 70% off clearance items in the tent and store, and find amazing deals in every other department before it's too late. Take up to $1,400 off sectionals, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 50% off mattresses. Hurry in while the tents are still up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Payout presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza while raising some dough for Kids Board. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor Broadcasting Live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see jasongregorpizzapigout.com.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Find the perfect tractor for any job at Edmonton Kubota. Their massive selection of compact tractors has something for everyone, whether you're tackling small tasks or big projects. And right now, take advantage of 0% financing for up to 72 months. It's never been easier to get the power and reliability you need. Come down to Edmonton Kubota today and drive away with the tractor that's just right for you. Edmonton Kubota, where your perfect tractor awaits.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And now the value is better than ever. Don't miss your chance to pay what Ford employees pay during the factory authorized employee pricing event. You'll see real invoice pricing on all vehicles, like savings up to $16,000 on Super Duty models. It's Ford employee pricing, but only until September 30th, where cars always cost less. Denham Ford, in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words.
Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time.
You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance.
Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Got a few more minutes. If you want to go to the game tomorrow, Elks. Text it, Elks to 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Just save it in your phone. Sports 1440. Boom. And the next time you don't have to put it in. Just like we save your contact. So we know Peter and Rich and Al and Josh and Corey and Michael and Kelly and many others. Mike and Devin. Kevin, many others. I don't want to list all of you, but you know who's texting. So good luck, Cons. We'll give you a few more minutes and he will pick a random winner. We'll see if we can track down Sergio Castillo. If not a big deal. The football report always brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit and your furnace. You can bundle them up, save even more right now. LegacyHeating.ca, the Elks and the Boom Bombers. Of course, it's going to be Trey Ford versus his twin brother, Tyrell Ford, going head-to-head in the CFL for the first time. What a thrill that will be for the brothers. Most twins are pretty close, I would assume. I don't have a twin, but the few that I know, they're pretty close. And you know, you love each other and you love competing against one another. So it should be it should be quite the time. Tyrell Ford is currently tied for the league lead in interceptions with 6, having himself a pretty good season so far. So we'll see. Which brother is going to get the best of his sibling in that game Saturday at 5:00? Of course, the Bombers come in. They are playing quite well. Winners of, I think it's 5 in a row. I got to double check, but I'm pretty sure the Bombers have won 5 in a row. The Elks are 5-1 in their last 6. Yes, so both teams playing pretty good. Bombers 5 in a row, Cons.
5 in a row,
That's
and the game they lost, what could have been 6 in a row, but they lost 16-14 in overtime to Toronto. So even that one, I guess some might say a close game. But yeah, they're playing some really good football.
They gave up a safety in overtime?
I guess so, yeah.
That's unreal.
Didn't even really put that together, but yeah.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Javon Leake not going to play, Gregor. There were some things off the field back home, not going to make it back in time. So he won't be playing for the green and gold, but luckily for them, they've got some pretty good backs.
Oh, yeah. You'd like all 3 of them in there, but you have Rankin, you have Brown. I think they'll be fine. Honestly, I think this is a great test for the Elks. They have, Winnipeg as, they beat, we got a text the other day saying, well, the Elks haven't beat anybody. You can only beat the teams that you play. Right? They beat BC. I don't know. BC's ahead of them in the standings. Right? They took care of business against Calgary. Trust me, Edmonton's been a good team before and never swept the Labor Day. So the fact that they did that, to me, that's positive. Saskatchewan can't get out of their own way right now. That happens. Saw it earlier for the Elks. The Elks kept finding ways to lose games. But Winnipeg, of course, winners of 5 in a row, they'll come in here with a lot of confidence. Now, I'm curious about Zach Collaros. And I know he's playing, but I just wonder how banged up he is, Cons. That, to me, is an interesting one. Can the Elks... Now, he's not the most fleetest of foot anyway. But if you're the Elks, you got to try to get some pressure on that guy. He's obviously still one of the better quarterbacks in the game. There's no question about it. But it's not like he's not the Zach Collaros a few years ago. That's all I'll say. Like, he's good, but he's already thrown a league high 13 interceptions so far this year. So he's being prone to get picked.
Yeah, I mean, completing a lot of his passes, just under 70%. So he is finding ways, to complete a lot of passes, but he is throwing those interceptions. The Elks coming off a game against the Stampeders, the Labor Day rematch, where he had 5 interceptions, right? So the secondary, very opportunistic if you can get pressure on them. Ontario Wilson, he's been a pretty good player for the Bombers this season. And obviously, we know Nick Dembski's always going to be a good player in this league. And then you get just, at the quarterback position, Chris Trevler, he's not going to play. He's out with a knee injury, not practicing. Lucky Whitehead is questionable for this one. So, for the Edmonton Elks, a team that is looking quite healthy going into this one, looking like a few players could get back into the lineup. It's going to be a fun one. I'm really looking forward to this game Saturday night. The weather should be fine. And down at Commonwealth, we know it's going to be a good time.
Well, I know the crowd. There's lots of Trey Ford fans. They'll be excited. Trey Ford has completed 76% of his passes so far. Now, he hasn't passed a lot either. So got to preface that. But still, when he's throwing the ball, he's been pretty accurate. 5 touchdown passes, only 1 interception. He's got 473 yards on 35 completions. So, not his average of 10 yards per reception over to, well, it's actually even more than that. So I don't mind it at all in how he's played. I think he is, of the starting quarterbacks, he has the highest average completion ratio. So, and distance too. So not only the completion percentage, but also the distance. Now, again, he's throwing fewer passes. So the more you throw, it's harder to maintain that. But they've had some big play capabilities with him. Obviously, he has the ability to scramble. You throw in their running attack right now. They're both teams. What I love about this matchup, it's a big game, and both teams are coming off their bye week. They're both fresh. So this should be, in theory, a really good matchup at Commonwealth on Saturday, 5 o'clock. 833-401-1440, 401-1440. I think there's Castillo on the line right now, Cons. So we'll see if that is him. So coming up later on, Spec is going to join us. Also, Josh Liskowitz, the senior data collection analyst, talk some NFL. And now we'll talk to Sergio Castillo, of course, kicker for the Bombers. Sergio, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Sorry about that. I thought I was going to receive a phone call, and then I'm like, oh, shoot, it's 5:35. I think I'm supposed to be calling.
No problem.
Sorry about that.
Hey, that's okay. Big matchup here. The Western Division, you know what? You and Edmonton both started slow, but both teams are rolling. They're 5-1 in their last 6. You've won 5 in a row. Now, you've been a really good team for a long time. It was a slow start. From your perspective, what's been the turnaround for your team to get back to the way you probably expect to play?
You know, early on the season, we had quite a few key injuries that would kind of slowed us down. And, you know, chemistry is such a big thing in sports in general, right? So we had some players leave due to free agency, and then you replace some new guys in there, and then you have injuries. So it was just going to take some time just to build some chemistry from my point of view, right? But from Osh, you know, it starts with Osh. He is very calm, he's cool, he's collective, and it starts with him, right? We win, we lose, he is the same guy, right? So it starts with our head coach, to be honest.
So you made a 60-yarder this season. As a kicker, I'm sure you feel like, hey man, I can make it from a lot of different distances, no problem. But 60-yarders are kind of rare. You know, even for some coaches to want to try it. How much convincing, if any, goes into it when you stroll up for a 60-yarder, convincing the coach to let you try it?
Well, I'll tell you this. The first time it happened, we attempted a 55 in Calgary, and we had a penalty, and we were backed up 5. And I could have sworn Osh was going to be like, screw it, let's punt. And when I got it, and when he said, like, when he gave me the go, for a mini second, I was a little surprised. Okay. I was like, wait, you are leaving me out here? And, but, you know, I'm like, I didn't want to show, like, any type of doubt, like, hey, to keep me out there. So I'm glad that he gave me the opportunity. It starts with a smooth operation, you know, with the snap and the hold. And, yeah, I'm very confident to do it, right? But if you look at all the kickers in the CFL, you look at their extra points, they go 55, 60 yards on the norm. It's just everyone can do it, you know. And shoot, I think a couple of weeks ago we had 4 55-yarders in one weekend from 4 different kickers.
Yeah. Well,
right? 55 plus yarders. So it just goes to show that, you know, we can kick long bombs all throughout all 9 guys on the league.
Well, yeah, I think the 9 regular kickers in the CFL have all connected on a 51-yarder or more this season, and you obviously have the longest at 60, but there's multiple 55s. Paradis has a 57-yarder, Lewis a 54-yarder. So, you know, and we know that beating Edmonton has a pretty good leg if he wants to. You know, the kicking game, we've seen it evolve. Like, all the athletes are getting better, stronger, smarter with training and stuff. What has led to the increase, do you think, just in leg strength for kickers overall? You know, college football, university, pro. What is it, Sergio? Has there been like a change in technique or training that's allowed guys to maximize their distance more as kickers?
It's a little bit of everything, but I think more importantly, you're starting to have kids focus on kicking a lot younger, right? I didn't start focusing on kicking technique till I was in college. And then, you know, when I was in high school, I would meet some kickers who started focusing on kicking technique in high school. Now you're starting to have kids who focus on it in 6th, 7th grade. And by the time they're sophomores and juniors, they're kicking off the ground. There's a couple kids that I've trained over the past couple of years that they have a way bigger leg than me than when I had when I was in college, and they're still in high school themselves, right? And I think it's just they start early on the technique. Obviously, the training from the strength and conditioning aspect has improved over the past 15, 20 years. But I think it's just the fact that kids are learning the technique a lot earlier, right? It's just like when I grew up playing soccer my whole life, right? And, by the time I was 4 or 5 years old, I knew how to kick a soccer ball. I knew how to stop it. I knew how to handle the ball. And so I think the same thing goes for kickers. They're starting a lot younger now, focusing on the technique.
For a lot of us who don't kick, we look and say, well, I can kick a soccer ball, I can kick a football. But, maybe in theory, yes, but probably not kick it accurately. What is, from your vantage point, what's the key to being an accurate kicker?
You got to eat a lot of rice and beans. No, it's you got the technical aspect, you got the physical aspect, and I think the most important part is a mindset, right? You got to win the battle mentally before you step on the field. If you think you're going to make it, you're right. If you think you're not going to make it, you're also right? So, and that's not just with football; it's just life in general. I think what's helped me the past couple of years is that I dedicate time to myself. And what do I mean by that? I wake up in the morning early before I start my day, before I head to the facility. I dedicate time to myself, and I take my walks, and I attack several aspects of my life: mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Right? And I, for example, physically, I make sure I go to the gym. Right? It makes me feel good about myself. From a mental aspect, I write down my goals, what I want to be as a man, on and off the field. And I got to check my emotional state. How am I doing? Right? Because there's times, a lot of us athletes, we're away from home for quite a bit some time. Right? So
right.
I think if you're able to, and I'm going a little bit more deeper than
No, I appreciate it.
I think if you can, it's not just an athlete, but if you can dedicate time to yourself as a human being, you have kids who spend time in math class that they don't like. You have people who go to a job and they spend, a whole day working with people that they don't like, but yet they don't spend time with themselves, who's the most important person in their life. So I think if you spend time with yourself, it allows you to be more free. You feed yourself. So then when you go into the world, you go into your job, you go into your family, you go into your circle, you're able to feed everybody and you're giving your best. And there's days when I wake up late or I don't give time to myself, I'm in a bad mood. So I think it starts by dedicating time to yourself and for me now, kicking is just, I go out there and I'm just at peace because I've attacked all these different aspects in life outside of football.
Sergio Castillo joins. Sir, I love that answer, man. I appreciate being vulnerable and saying, hey, this is what works for me, and it's important, and it's not just about lifting weights and all this stuff. There's the mental side of it that allows your body, you got to put fuel in, and fuel sometimes might be just about a mental wellness check, and it works for you. So has that allowed you, because kickers and goaltenders are kind of unique positions, like kickers are like, you make a field goal. Everyone's like, we expect him to make a field goal. It's not that hard. He's kicking it between two posts. And then when you miss one, everybody's like freaking out about it. How have you learned to kind of have that short memory and not allow a miss, which everybody does at some point, impact your next kick?
Yes. Funny you mentioned goalies, right? And I'm assuming you're referring to hockey, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I played goalie, but for soccer. So
yeah, same thing.
As a goalkeeper, right? As a goalkeeper or as a goaltender, you can be the hero or the villain, and you could have a goalie, stop all the shots, and he has one bad miss, and that goal, it could determine the game. Unlike a forward, he can miss all these shots, and they're still in the game. So for me, early on playing in soccer, you have a lot of time to think because you're not running around or skating around 100 miles per hour. So I've been able to develop since a young age that, okay, there's a mistake, let's go on to the next one. But I got to give credit to my sports psychologist, Dr. Michelle Bartlett from West Texas A&M University. She showed me an exercise in 2012, and I've been doing it ever since. I used this exercise going into my junior year in college. I get a little piece of paper, probably like half of the size of my palm, and I write down 5 affirmations, right? The 5 or 6. The first one is 1-for-1 field goal. Doesn't matter if I make or miss the last one. The next one is the most important one. The second one, it says, Adriana, Jared, and I'm not only kicking for myself, but I'm kicking for my family as well. The third one is Luke 12:48. It's one of my favorite Bible verses, but it says, when much is given, much is expected out of you.
Yes.
So for me, if they're trusting me to be with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, I have to trust myself even more. Right? Next one, it says chingon mindset. In the Mexican slang, chingon means think the highest, the best, the mindset. Tonight, I'm going to be the best CFL kicker, and I'm going to show it tonight. And then the last one, it says, it's a quote, whether you're ready or not, show up. So before every kick I go out, if once our offense is driving, where I get one kick on the net and I see, okay, they're on the 40, I put my helmet on, and you'll always see me pull out that little piece of paper. It takes me about 15, 20 seconds to go over it.
Okay.
And now I'm attacking the mental aspect, and it helps me forget, those negative thoughts. Or if I miss one, it helps me attack the negative thoughts through that words of affirmation.
Sergio Castillo joined us, kicker for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They're in town on Saturday to take on the Elks. And Sergio, I'm curious from your perspective. It's rare to have siblings play head-to-head. Even more rare to have twin brothers go head-to-head. And you got the quarterback of the Elks, Trey Ford. His twin brother, Tyrell, is tied for the league lead in interceptions. Two young, exciting players. As a teammate of that, is there a little extra juice around the locker room knowing that the twin brothers are going head-to-head?
I think it's just a very unique experience to be part of. And I am glad that I'm going to be having front row seats to watch these two go at it. And I've been teammate of both of them, right? 2022 when I was in Edmonton. It's just to know both of them, and this must be an exciting time in their lives. But now that I'm a parent, I can only imagine what their parents and family are going through. It must be something amazing, right? And all these emotions. And all I can hope for is that they're able to, the people around them, to also embrace what's going on, because it's a very unique and beautiful thing that's going on.
Sergio, as a kicker, you can go long stretches sometimes where you're not in the game, right? You're on the sidelines. What do you do to stay in the game, or are you allowed to just enjoy the game at this? Like, how do you find that balance of, appreciating a good offensive play, a good defensive play, stuff like that? Like, how in tune are you to the game when it's ongoing?
The game is a little bit hard to enjoy because mentally you're just locked in, right? I enjoy a little watching the game when our defense is on there, because obviously we have a less chance of a scoring opportunity compared to when the offense is on there.
Okay.
But one thing, there's a long stretch. It's just like golf. You before every swing, you have like a little dry swing, right? Same thing. Before, I can only kick so much into the net. I don't want to wear my leg out, so I do a lot of dry kicks in the air, right? And I'm just going through the motion, and I'm just make sure I have a good rhythm on my swing just to stay loose.
Sergio, really appreciate that interview, man. Thanks so much, and best of luck on Saturday night and what should be a heck of a game between the Bombers and the Elks.
I appreciate you guys, and sorry again for calling in late. That's on me.
Oh, geez. No worries, my man. No worries at all. Appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
There you go. Sergio Castillo. Are you kidding me? I'm going to tell you, Collins, I was not. That interview went a lot different direction than I wanted and or was expecting, and it was amazing. Those are some of the best answers that we have had to questions in a long time from an athlete, an active athlete. That's fantastic advice for anybody playing in life. I don't care what you do. It was great. Quick break. We'll come back. We got 5 questions and more on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
It's the final week of the Bricks famous tent sale, and everything must go. Take up to 70% off clearance items in the tent and store, and find amazing deals in every other department before it's too late. Take up to $1,400 off sectionals, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 50% off mattresses. Hurry in while the tents are still up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase-style regular season gameplay and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2012 and 2017. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
Booster Juice has a secret. It's a secret menu of secret smoothies you can only see on the Booster Rewards app. Oh, wait, guess it's not a secret anymore. Visit any Booster Juice and ask for the Ocean's Tide, the Berry Bloom, the Raspberry Rapture, the Strawberry Dip, or the Go Mango. Made with mangoes, pineapple, and yogurt. The Secrets app. Tell anyone you want. Find the exclusive secret smoothie menu on the Booster Rewards app and sneak into a Booster Juice near you.
On Sports 1440. You can always text us 833-401-1440 in our inbox. You can always email us, Gregor at sports1440.ca. This email comes in from Scott. Hey, Gregor, I have to say a lot of your opinions on stuff I don't agree with, but I have to say your interviews is the best part of your show. You always have an ability to get guys to answer questions, go much deeper than many others. It is a skill that I probably don't think you get credit for enough. So I don't agree with a lot of your takes, but I really respect your interviews. Scott. Well, Scott, if we agree on everything, that would probably be boring. But thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. And I think I'm a curious person. I always like I love the interview factor of the show. I like giving opinions too. I like hearing everybody's opinion. It's great. But that was one of the more enjoyable interviews that I've had in a long time. And I don't go into interviews very often with expectations. Like yesterday with Dwayne, I was expecting it to be good, and it was very good. I've talked to Sergio a few times when he was here, and I remember him. He was a good interview, but that one, that really impressed me. I really, I liked what he said. It was great. I love hey guys, what did he mention the things he does? I just remember the one in one making a field goal. Well, he had that. Then he had, he listed off his family because he's not just playing for them. He's playing for, not just playing for himself. He's playing for them. What was the third thing? Geez, I got to go back and listen to it. There's I was taking a lot of tidbits of information from, just when he talked about, going on his own and talking about things that matter to him and checking on, hey, are you okay? That to me it sounds so simple, but how many of us, especially men, ever go for a walk and just say to yourself, hey, are you emotionally okay? To yourself. How often do you ever do it? Cons, do you do it?
No, I do not. No.
Oh, okay.
I might start though.
Were you waving at someone behind me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were waving like I do. I was like, oh, good for you. Oh.
I can't claim that, but there was two people glaring in here, so
okay.
Give him a wave.
All right, there you go. Yeah, you get a few. It is funny. Some people walk by and they just like stare, and then you wave at them and they don't even smile. It's kind of like they think we're like zoo animals in here. Maybe they do. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, and hey, it's your last day to say, get in on their 10 sale. I'm talking 50, 60% off, whether it's mattresses, furniture, appliances. And I went actually and purchased one of, it's called the gaming chair, but I use it in my office. I had one for, 9-10 years. I loved it. And slowly the cylinder, it just doesn't go up and down as well as it used to. It was on sale, like 65% off. Got it for like $110. It was unreal. So if you're looking for a good deal, get to the Brick. They're 10 sale right now.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. When it comes to the preseason, once we get into the games, do you like to see experimentation with line combinations, or do you prefer to see them start trying to build chemistry?
I don't know if they need that. Like, as Darnell Nurse said, you can get a lot of reps in practice for that. I think the preseason is you want to get some chemistry. I think, funny enough, more on your special teams because it's such an integral part of the game. The Oilers are good 5-on-5. McDavid and Hyman and Nugent Hopkins have played enough together. I don't think they need it. Now, Draisaitl, Skinner, and Arvidsson, when it's 3 players that have never played together, that's a little bit different. But guys like, do Henrique, Janmark, and Brown have to play every preseason game together? I don't think so. And I fully expect that they won't. I don't think McDavid, Hyman, and Nugent Hopkins are always going to be in the same preseason game. But Draisaitl, Skinner, and Arvidsson, now that's a little bit different. So I think it depends on the situation.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, like, for special teams, I think it is more of a thing where you want to get that chemistry going together. During the preseason, though, I feel like no matter what, when Hyman, Nugent, McDavid get back out there, they'll be good to go. So you can try to build in that chemistry, but how much further is it going to be? Maybe a little more important when it's an uncertainty to try to build some chemistry. Question number 2 for you. I know you saw Stuart Skinner down at practice today with the new pads. When it comes to the goalie gear setup, who do you think has the best style?
You go ahead.
Well, I mean, for me, one that I love is when the Dallas Stars go with the Neons and Ottinger's pads.
100%.
Can't beat that one. So that, for me, it's not all the time, but that tops the list.
It's hard. Well, I love the neon, so I'll go with that. I will say, though, if you haven't seen Stuart Skinner's new setup, the royal blue and orange looks pretty sharp. That combination of how he did it, I think looks pretty good. It's not too busy. That's what I like about it.
Number 3 today, Blackhawks named Nick Foligno as their next captain. Does that surprise you at all?
No, none whatsoever. Actually, I would have been shocked if it wasn't him. I love the fact they didn't give it to Connor Bedard. There is zero reason that you should, and I know Edmonton did it, and think about, did they do it and they made the playoffs, once in the next 3 years? Like, Chicago has a long way to go to be. Connor Bedard has enough pressure on himself. Why does he have to be named captain? I've never really understood the reason why you do that. So you got Nick Foligno, who is just an ace of a human being. You read all the stories about him, everything him and his wife do, not only just on the ice, but off of the ice, in community, charitable work. I think all of that stuff is important. So I think it was a very good decision by Chicago to not go with Bedard and then to go with a guy like Nick Foligno. Now, does that mean they're going to be a playoff team? No, of course not. They don't have the talent. But I like this move a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I said it last year. I thought that it would be 1 year and then Bedard would get the C. So I'm glad they didn't do it. I don't think they need to. And you outlined what Nick Foligno is as a human and a hockey player. So I think it's a good position for him to be in. Again, no rush for Connor Bedard. He'll get it eventually. Doesn't have to be, when he's still a teenager. Question number 4, PlayAlberta.ca has got the Jets tonight as the 6.5-point favorites over the Patriots. The over-under, not ideal, 38.5. Kind of a snoozer, perhaps. Is there any bet you like between these two or any other you might look at in the game?
Well, my like this. Anytime I see a 38, I just want to jump over. I'm like, go over, pound the over. But I would probably go. Like, I know the Patriots. I don't know. I just think the Jets are going to wake up. So the Jets plus the points is probably where I'd go at PlayAlberta.ca.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Jets for sure, but would it surprise you if this was a 28-10 game and we just, get under 27-10? I'm a little hesitant on that one, but I mean, I think if you want the safe money, Breece Hall anytime touchdown, probably a good one to go with. My final question for you today was on this day. In 1990, Goodfellas debuted in theaters. So I always think about when really good TV shows, they have bad characters ethically that you root for. So when it comes to the bad characters in TV shows that you found yourself rooting for, who do you think tops the list?
Go ahead.
There's a few for me. I mean, geez, I've said it before. I always like Sons of Anarchy. Those guys aren't good dudes, right? They're out there committing crimes, and they make you like them, but they're not really good human beings in the show. And then the other one for me, it's got to be Dexter. Like, he's doing the right thing, but he's putting the law in his own hands, as I don't think we're supposed to do. So Dexter Morgan, although he is eliminating the scum of the earth, I think they all deserve their day in court as well. So Dexter would, I guess, have to be another one for me.
Bad characters you've liked in TV shows. Well, I would have to say probably Cersei in Game of Thrones. Like, there's a lot of characters in Game of Thrones who are bad guys that you kind of liked, but yeah, I would probably go with her. And I guess in a weird way, he was portrayed as a bad guy, not to the point of killing people or anything, but Newman as in a comedy. I'll go with Newman. I liked him. He was great. Hey, by the way, who won the Elks tickets?
Mark won the Elks tickets today.
Mark, congratulations, Mark. Enjoy the game on Saturday. When we come back, Spec will join us. Good interview with Podkolzin. We'll talk about him and why I think Oilers fans, I'm telling you right now, he's going to become, because you know what, he's not the superstar guy. So when you like McDavid and Draisaitl, it's for different reasons, and that's fine. I think Podkolzin is going to be a little bit of a cult fan favorite amongst Oilers fans in the maybe not right away, but big physical skates, very well spoken for a Russian guy. I'm happy to be here and got a little bit of sense of humor. Actually, quite a good quote today. So those are the reasons why I think Oilers fans are going to gravitate towards him. Let's get to the Con Man on a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. And you know what? You can only keep it a secret for so long. Their secret smoothie is out right now, but download the reward app. You'll find out who they are, and they are tasty. Only at Booster Juice.
The Sports 1440 update.
Well, history has been made as the Los Angeles Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani, the only member of the 50-50 club, as he has gone yard just moments ago. Dodgers beating up on the Marlins 14-3. That's in the seventh. We'll stick with Major League Baseball heading into the second. Rays and the Red Sox are scoreless. Earlier today, Vlad Guerrero Jr. hit 2 solo shots for the Jays. They knock off the Rangers 4-0. The Guardians over the Twins 3-2. Braves get past the Reds 15-3, and the Giants fall to the Orioles 5-3. Week 3 in the NFL kicks off in New Jersey as the Jets will host the Patriots. That's starting at 6:15. Some news from the NHL. The Red Wings signing restricted free agent defenseman Moritz Seider to a 7-year deal worth just under $60 million. Seider, just 23 years old, appeared in 82 games last season with the Red Wings, recording 9 goals and 42 points. And the Anaheim Ducks naming Radko Gudas as the 9th captain in franchise history. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Josh Liskowitz of Pro Football Focus. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Rule number 116. In Waterton, walk with a lean. The wind will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Buy early and score with the Stollery Children's Hospital Foundation Mike G Millions Lottery. Bonus prize deadline is midnight tomorrow. Win Lower Bowl Oilers season seats plus $50,000 cash and begin to win the $2.5 million grand prize. A show home with $100,000 cash plus incredible vehicles, luxury vacations, and more. Oilers bonus prize deadline is midnight tomorrow. Be mighty. Support Stollery Kids. Buy now at MikeGMillionsLottery.com.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car, and that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge, and I hope you, yes you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
Ohtani is singing that song himself. Welcome back to the Thursday edition of the Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Thanks, as always, for joining us. Our show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. I'm saying it. Jets are winning by a touchdown tonight. So there you go. How about this for Shohei Ohtani today? Game's not even over yet. He has 2 home runs, 2 stolen bases, 2 doubles. He's 5 for 5, 7 RBIs. He's the first player since 1901. First player in 123 years to have 2 homers, 2 doubles, and 2 steals in a game. This guy is a freak, and in a good way, of an athlete. Like, when we're talking one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen, he's got to be at the top of the list amongst active guys. Like, he pitches, he hits for power. He's batting leadoff today for the Dodgers because he's that fast. Like, it is unreal what this guy does. Like, I'm trying to put into play any other athlete in any other sport. He can hit for power. He can have stolen bases. He can pitch 100 miles. Like, what is going on? I can't think of anything that's close. It'd be like a football player who plays quarterback or receiver. I don't care the position. 10 touchdowns, 1,400 yards. Oh, by the way, he's also right up there, and he's got 8 interceptions when he's playing both ways. Like, I can't even think of a comparison in hockey. Right? Like, I remember when Sergei Fedorov was forward and then he played defense for a bit. You're like, oh, that's pretty good, but didn't stick with it. Didn't dominate. Like, honestly, Do you have any sport where you can think of a comparable to this? Like what you're watching is utterly amazing right now. Let's get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. Well, they're pretty well-rounded. They do a lot. They're like the Ohtani of underground infrastructure. They do everything, and they do it well at GS Construction. Mark Spector joins us. Spec, I know you're a big baseball guy, but honestly, can you think of any other sport where you could say there's an athlete who does the stuff we're seeing right now from Ohtani in all forms?
Yeah, the thing that really throws the wrench here is the pitching part.
Yeah.
You know, lots of guys like, I don't know, Ricky Henderson. He hit for power and stole bases. Sure.
A little bit of power.
Yeah. I mean, he hit some home runs. I think he had the most leadoff home runs of anybody, didn't he? Anyway,
I think so.
My point is he hit lots of home runs and he stole 1 million bases. He's a good example. He's a Hall of Fame player. But this guy pitches. So your football comparison is like a guy that has 1,400 yards as a running back, 12 picks as a DB, and he's a kicker, and he kicks them from 50.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You forgot the kicker part.
Yeah.
So
Fair point.
there is no comparison in hockey. In hockey, you'd have to be a 120-point player, and you'd have to be a really good goalie at the same time.
Yeah.
Like that's just a non-existent player. So, you know, everyone who knows baseball, it's about being a 5-tool player. Like if a team can find a guy and they say he's a 5-tool player, that's a first-round pick every day and a possible superstar. And this guy's a 6-tool player.
Yeah, sure, right? You're right. Yeah, you've never really seen it before. It's like he is a player that when the Dodgers, I've watched more Dodgers games than I ever have before. I get my son to watch. He's like, Dad, I said, just watch Ohtani. And he does this and he does that. And my son's like, what? Now, he's not pitching this year, but he has pitched before and everybody's seen him pitch. We know he can pitch and he'll probably go back to pitching. And so that's what's, you know, it's remarkable. The fact that in a year where he doesn't pitch, he says, you know what, guys, I'm just going to steal bases now.
and if I'd have told you that he's going to sign this monster deal with the Dodgers and he's not going to be able to pitch, and they're still going to get their money's worth out of him, right? Like, you'd have said, forget it, man. Like, no way. He's got to win 14 games. Well, they're getting their money's worth out of this guy, and he hasn't pitched a ball yet.
Like, if you look at it in pro sports, like in the 4 big sports right now, so you've got Ohtani doing what he does. And by the way, Aaron Judge is having himself a hell of a year, but Ohtani's just, kind of freakish. Then you throw, Pat Mahomes and his ability to where he throws his release points and different things, and he's won. Great. Then you throw in the Joker in the NBA and how he's done things that we haven't seen. And then you throw in Connor McDavid in the NHL, and no one's ever played the game as fast as he has. No one's ever, stick handle it at speed like he does. And look at what he just did in the playoffs, amongst the all-time great performances we've ever seen. And you're just like, man, we are pretty blessed if you're a sports fan, which I am. I don't downplay any sport. No, I don't like that sport. I've never understood that. But I look at those 4 specifically, and you're just like, oh my God, this is prime time right now.
It is. You're right. There's 4 of the all-time sort of like Mount Rushmore types in their sports, and they're all playing right now. So yeah, it is. And again, like I can't. Compare McDavid's the best player in the world. There's no question. And he's not touching as many areas of the hockey rink as Shohei Ohtani is on a baseball diamond, right?
Yeah.
Like he's as great as Connor is. I can't tell you if you said what more could he do. I don't know what the answer is. But whatever it is, he'd have to start, leading his team in block shots and hits to get close to dominating the entire ice surface the way Shohei Ohtani's dominating the baseball diamond. It's awesome. And like you say, man, that Sportsnet game, that West Coast game that's on at night quite frequently, and we're showing the Dodgers as often as we can.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's a great way at 8:30 at night. You go, oh, what am I going to do? Oh, Shohei's playing. Now I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, it's true. Day 1 of training camp, Spec. Your first chance, I don't know if you've spoke to him before or not, but what was your first impression of old Podkolzin?
Well, I had never spoken to him. I watched him play in the Halinka, watched him play in in 2 World Juniors, actually. And he was a good player, I thought. Watched him in Vancouver and all that. The Vancouver, my friends out there, the Scribes, Ian McIntyre in particular, thought very highly of him, told me he's well-spoken, very smart. And they were all, you kind of get to like a guy and cheer for him a little bit. And he lived up to all that to me today. Jim Masson and I got him on the side after, and we talked to him about he's got a 14-month-old daughter. He's only 23. He does not, like a lot of Russian guys, he does not harbor that, well, if it doesn't work out here, I'll go back to Russia. He's not that guy. He wants to make it in the NHL, right?
Okay.
Russia's always going to be there, but he's not telling people here, if you don't play me, I'm going home. He's not that guy. He is very much, like he said, you know what? The minors are tough, but they're good for you. And he takes he looks down at his own career from 30,000 feet, and he knows that the time he spent in Abbotsford was good for him and made him a better player. And I think I like that about a young guy. Not a lot of young guys have that kind of world view, right?
Yep.
They're usually looking at things through their own little prism. So he's smart. I'll tell you, the Russian kids, you'll know this, Jay, the Russian kids don't always speak English as well as, say, the Swedes do, or the other European countries.
Yep.
But his English is excellent at 23. It's very, very good. So that tells me he's smart and he's attentive, and he wants to learn English. He's not coming over here and living with Russian people and speaking Russian all the time. He wants to assimilate. So all of those things are good. The last thing is he's got to become a regular NHL player and play at that level every night. And I see no reason why it can't happen. And I'll be very interested to see if it will happen.
Yeah. He, had a good sense of humor today. His style of play, Stan Bowman was, he reminds me a little bit of Costin when you look at how he skates, he can shoot the puck. Now, the difference is Costin would like to punch your face more, whereas Podkolzin is better defensively, right? Costin was not a guy that got a ton of time in the defensive zone. Now, you know what? We'll see it in San Jose, but that wasn't him. Podkolzin wants a penalty kill. He's going to get an opportunity to penalty kill, I'm told. So, you know what? Which he needs if he wants to play in the bottom 6. There's no question about that. So,
Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think... To me, I have him as a lock to make the team. It's just a matter of, how much of an impact he can make on the team.
Yeah, here's the issue with him. Well, not the issue, but the reason Vancouver traded him is because he's now waiver eligible. So they didn't think he was going to make their team, and they thought someone's going to take him off waivers for free. So they got a 4th-round pick from Edmonton. That's pretty much what happened here.
Yeah,
he's that guy, Jay, and we've seen, oh my goodness, so many of them. He's that 1st-round pick guy, the skill guy, best player in his team guy, who's learning now that for now anyhow, he's not coming into the NHL as a top 6 player, right? They've tried that. It's not going to happen right away. It may happen one day. It's not going to happen 2 days. So he's in the process of accepting and learning how to be an NHL player every day, but coming out of the 3rd line, right? Coming out of maybe the 4th line for a while. So it's not as easy as it sounds. It's an attitude shift. You just said it. You got to learn how to do things like kill penalties. I think he's smart enough and dedicated enough to learn all that stuff. He's certainly skilled enough. He's a very skilled player. So I have a feeling this is a guy that can make that transition, Jay, but that's where he's at. He's in the middle of that transition, and we've watched some guys can't do it. Let's hope for this kid's sake that he can.
Mark Spector joins us on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Today, we saw the fact, and Chris Noeblock gave us a teaser that, he was going to go with Drysdale, Skinner, and Arvidsson. And I did a deep dive. I wrote about it, Oilers Nation today. Like Jeff Skinner, Spec, the last 3 years, he's 20th in 5-on-5 scoring, 1 point behind Zach Hyman. And he didn't play with Connor McDavid for 2,100 minutes at 5-on-5 in that period. You look at he scored 27 goals 5-on-5 when he played with Victor Rask and geez, his name escapes me, and Lee Stempniak in Carolina now he's going to play with Leon Draisaitl. And if I'm Chris Noeblock, I'm going to be ultra patient here because he now has 4 of the top 20 scores 5-on-5 in the NHL the last 3 seasons: McDavid and Draisaitl, Hyman and Skinner. To put 3 of them on one line, I just don't think makes sense for a team
No.
that what they've been looking to get Draisaitl this. They've been looking to have a real threat so he can have someone. And you know what? Jeff Skinner's not necessarily Hyman, Marner, and Rantanen overall, but at 5-on-5, he's quite good. And that's where you could really help Draisaitl.
Oh, for sure. Listen, Draisaitl went through last year. They were swapping in and out his wingers all year long, right? He was getting Fogle. He was getting McLeod sometimes. He was RNH kept going down to his line, and somehow him and Draisaitl at 5-on-5, they're not. Somehow they don't click as well as you thought they would. This is one of the things they wanted to do. One of the Oilers' management goals this summer was to furnish Leon Draisaitl with at least one legit guy. And that guy was Arvidsson to start, and then it turned into Skinner as well. And now, I mean, you know, look at the lines. Like, I think I was talking to Kev Carius this morning about this. Like, you're sitting in the visitors' room, and those lines go up on the whiteboard, and you know it's McDavid, who's McDavid. It's Hyman, who's a 50-goal man. It's Nugent Hopkins, who's an awesome player on the first line, and then the second line's got Draisaitl, top 5 player in the league, Arvidsson, who goes to the net and gets your dirty goals, and Skinner, who could score you 30 or 40. Like, and they're going to get the second pair, Jay, on a lot of nights. So it's like, you know, if you look, when I look at teams, I've been looking at the lines that are coming out here, right? And one of the barometers that I always look at, Jay, and maybe this is wrong, but I look at the Flames top 6, and I go, okay, how many of those guys are no doubt top 6 players on every team in the league? And there's maybe 3. Right? Maybe 3, maybe 2. And when I look at the Oilers' top 6, you know, on every team in the league, McDavid, Draisaitl, RNH, Hyman, that's 4 guys. Skinner, if he's going to score over 30, he's a top 6 player on every team in the league. And I would tell you that Victor Arvidsson is a top 6 player on every team in hockey. So they're one of the few teams with 6, in my mind, 6 no-doubters in their top 6. That's 2 more than most teams have, usually 3.
Mark Spector joins us, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Darnell Nurse, Chris Noeblock said it. He expects him to play a few preseason games. So if I do the math, I'm going to guess it's not going to be this week. It's going to be later in the preseason. And he did play with Emberson. It was interesting. Nurse says you get enough reps in practice that you should, you know what? Yeah, it helps in a game. But the amount of reps you get in a practice, you can get to know someone. Do you think Emberson is going to get the first real crack to play with Nurse?
Well, let's put it this way. He's getting the first real crack in the preseason, which tells me that he won't get the first real crack only if it just goes sour in the preseason here. If in practice they just look wonky and it's not working, if Nurse says privately to the coach, geez, I don't know, man, this guy's not the guy or something, and I'm not pointing a finger here. My point is this. Emberson's getting the first crack now. That tells me he's going to get the first crack then, as long as he holds up his end of the bargain and shows that he can handle the ice time. You think he can?
It's a good question. I honestly, could he play 20 minutes a night? Possibly. It'll depend a little bit on deployment here. I don't. Now, is he gonna have a perfectly non-bumpy ride? No. I shouldn't say no. I'd say I'd be surprised by that. So
yeah,
I could see him. You know what? I will say the Oilers' start to their season is quite favorable as far as you look at. You know, they got Philadelphia, they got Chicago, they got the Calgary Flames. Like they don't have murderers row early on, and confidence can help any player. Not only a team, it can help a player. I think that, you know, there's a chance here that he can kind of get up to speed. Like, you know, even their final 2 preseason games, like the Seattle doesn't have like this juggernaut offensive team that you're scared of, right? They do play Vancouver that final regular preseason game, which to me I find quite interesting because I think there's a really good rivalry there. And I just wonder, both teams like, yeah, we hate each other, but do we really want to pound the hell out of each other in a preseason game? So I'm kind of curious about that game. A little bit can kind of go one or two ways. It'll be a real snooze fest, or there'll be a little bit of a, you know, edge to it. And I wonder, does McDavid, which maybe he plays both spec, but I'd be surprised that he played both the final preseason games.
I think McDavid will play the game in Vancouver, and I doubt he'll play the one in Seattle.
Okay.
Here's what I don't know where I even picked this up over the last week or so. those last two games. Now, is that a Thursday, Saturday?
I think it's a Wednesday, Friday, actually.
Okay, it's a Wednesday,
Or
Friday.
Maybe it's a Wednesday, Saturday. I don't have to look it up.
Anyway, 2 games. They close their preseason. Whoever's left is going to Seattle. They're bringing everybody, and they're going to have the game in Seattle, and then they're going to have a big team, some kind of a team function or outing or something in Vancouver on the day between games.
Yeah.
So that's a thing that a lot of teams always do right before the season starts. So no one's going to get left behind here. They're going to bring all their guys. And then I suggest to you that in the Vancouver game, they will ice very close to their game 1 lineup. They got a lot of guys here. McDavid's not going to play many games. He'll play that game. Nurse isn't playing many games. He may well play both those games. I think the lineup you see in Vancouver will be, out of 20 skaters, I'll bet you'd see 17 guys that are going to play on opening night.
All right. Spec, have a great one, buddy. Talk to you tomorrow.
Hey, thanks, Jake.
There you go. That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. When we return, just by the name alone, you don't want to miss our next guest. Just because the quality of his title. We'll tell you what it is next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Imagine hitting 13 out of 14 fairways from the tee. It can happen. It does happen with a driver created for you by Fitted Golf. We are the only company in Edmonton who fits for all 9 features of each golf club. Amateurs learn to play like amateurs from amateurs. Professional scientists, engineers, and club builders, and get fitted with the clubs designed for one golfer. You visit fittedgolf.ca today. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Japa Machinery knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team of construction jobs rolling one time. Heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
At Mountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires. Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150. Online today. Mountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Gather around the radio cities for the best time of day. Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the bomber's Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Noodle time. Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best noodle dance. So this time of day is noodle time.
Hey there, it's your friends from Toyota. We see you eyeing that Tundra, already picturing yourself hauling so much firewood that your chainsaw's hiding behind the shed. It's time to stop dreaming about that new Toyota and start driving one. Lease a 2024 Tundra 4x4 Double Cab SR5 from $154 weekly for 60 months at 4.99% with $6,299 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go.
Roll through on Sports 1440. Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, sports1440.ca, anywhere where you download the app. We always appreciate you listening to the show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where taking the Jets plus 6.5 or minus 6.5. They're going to win by a touchdown. Well, no, I wouldn't bet on that if I was you, but that's what I'm doing. So good luck at PlayAlberta.ca. Our next guest, who might have a little bit more insight into that. He is the Senior Data Collection Analyst for PFF. Josh Liskowitz joins us. Josh, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you today?
Excellent. Now, I know you do a lot of football, Josh, but I would just be curious if all of a sudden you were collecting all this data and then you come up across a player like Shohei Ohtani, who can pitch and he can hit home runs, and now he's stealing 50 bases. He's doing things we've never seen in major. Like, it's I can't even compare it to any other sport. It'd be like Patrick Mahomes, being a quarterback and then plays both ways and dominates in the secondary. And then kicks field goals, for goodness sakes. Like, it's remarkable what Ohtani's doing.
It is, but I don't know if I really buy into this 50-50 stuff. I mean, I saw that last home run, and it didn't even sound anywhere near as cool as the rest of his hits. So did it really happen? I'm not exactly sure.
What do you make of the fact that touchdown passes are down so much early in the season? Is it just 2 weeks, or is this a trend that might continue?
Well, I think it's twofold, really. One, teams aren't using the preseason to get their starters ready.
Yeah.
And I think just the offenses are behind. As simple as that. And I think that's generally league-wide. You look at some of the teams that did play a lot of starters in preseason, Minnesota being one of the chief ones, and they're one of the teams that started hot. So I think that has a big piece of that. The other thing is we're seeing a lot of cover two in terms of two safeties high.
Yeah.
And I think that is specifically designed to take away some of the pass stuff and encouraging teams to run the ball more. And that's been kind of creeping up the last couple of years. You know how the league goes a bit cyclical. And that part, I think, is probably here to stay. So, yeah, there will be some adjustment. It'll probably go up a little bit once our quarterbacks and their receivers are more in sync. But at the same time, I think the running game matters again.
Well, there is that for sure. I know, the big passes, more of a passing league, it's more exciting. I love your point about how, like, the preseason, they don't even play them. And they can talk all they want about, they do all the reps in practice and everything. But the difference is no one hits a quarterback in practice, right? Like, so you can't really emulate that. Do you ever think teams are going to play guys more in the preseason, or is there just too much of a risk of injury that they'll never do it?
Yeah, there has to be a fine line, right? Because I totally get it from the team's perspective. You don't want these guys hurt. And up until the last couple of years when this became a popular way to do it, we used to see all kinds of injuries in the preseason. And while I would think generally that's been down this year, they still don't want, this poor quality of play, especially when you look at some of the top teams in the league. I know Baltimore had to go Kansas City first, but they're 0-2 now. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't be 0-2. That's too good a roster to be 0-2. Detroit lost a home game. They're supposed to be a Super Bowl contender. San Fran just lost a game. So, like, all these top-end teams are just not ready. And I think that's probably going to result going forward, and we're going to see at least somewhat of a balance shift to where we're going to see a little bit more of them in preseason action.
When you look at some of the teams, like, because we see the Ravens are 0-2, the Bengals are the one team that, this is what we do. Joe Burrow, we go 0-2, and Zach Taylor is like 1-11 in the first 2 games of the season, which is remarkable to me. But has there been a team that early on you think their success through 2 weeks, while maybe unexpected a few weeks ago, is now sustainable?
Well, I'm curious to see where the Saints go with this. Because I don't think, I guess they played Carolina week 1, so that's definitely a pushover. But the blowout win against Dallas has kind of piqued my interest in terms of can they sustain this? If you look at Carr throughout his career, that would suggest no. But they've got a lot of interesting moving pieces there, and one of the things they did in the offseason is they really shored up that offensive line. And when you run outside zone as much as they do, kind of similar to San Francisco, similar to Houston, and you have a solid offensive line now, their first round pick, Fuaga, starting at left tackle for them already. He's been outstanding. That's going to help you a lot, and I think that's the big difference for them. So we'll see if that defense holds up. I don't know that they really have the horses there, but offensively, there's a lot of promise for a team like them.
The young quarterbacks are struggling. Not a surprise to me at all. I think it's an extremely hard position, especially when you mention, there's not even a lot of preseason for them, so it's even harder to get going. I actually like the decision by Carolina. Bryce Young, he's only going to just go downhill, lack of confidence, everything else. There looks like there's some technical stuff there that needs to be fixed. And, that team is not very good. So why throw him to the Wolves? Like, I don't believe that this means he can never recover. Like, especially when you look around the league of guys, Sam Darnold right now and others who maybe kind of got rushed in early. And then once they got a little bit more time, understanding the position, they were able to be pretty decent quarterbacks. Maybe not elite, but pretty decent. Or is there things in Young that you think, oof, there's a lot to fix?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say things to fix. I think there's things about him that you just can't really do much about. You see him back there at 5'9", 180 pounds soaking wet, and he's constantly on his tiptoes. And he's not the kind of athlete Kyler Murray is. So it's not like he can scramble with his feet. He's bailing out of the back of pockets because he can't step up and still see what's going on in the field. I think he has one attempt beyond 10 yards that's between the numbers. So that kind of tells you that he can't even use the middle of the field at all on an intermediate deep level because he can't see it.
Yeah.
And I simply put, I think that's doomed him. Really, the pick itself was, to me, even at the time, completely unprecedented. Taking a quarterback that small, and I know Kyler was that small, but Kyler, you look at him, he's got a thicker lower body build.
Right.
And again, the athleticism.
Yeah.
But, Young doesn't have any special traits about him. He's accurate when he had time and space in college, but that doesn't always translate to the NFL. And I think when you're not just taking a guy like that number one overall, but trading the absolute farm for it, I think you're kind of asking for exactly what's happened to Carolina.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like the size, there is some legitimacy to it for sure. Size, it's a joke, but it does matter at certain times. No question about it. As Josh Liskowitz joins us, PFF Senior Data Collection Analyst. We get to, we've talked about how touchdowns are way down and certain guys are off to good starts. Now, what about some specific teams? People in Chicago are saying, man, we saw this in Seattle. It's the offense, not so much the quarterback. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think it's both. I think it's a little bit of everything. Obviously, Fields wasn't exactly light in the world on fire last year, but I think we saw a lot of scheme issues that were issues there, and I think some of that hurts now. And my biggest issue, though, with kind of the way that whole thing has started is with the personnel they've given him. If you look at the way Caleb played in college, he really is a I need to see it first kind of guy. He doesn't make a lot of anticipatory throws. And so if you have these bigger, older receivers that don't separate a ton initially, he's not going to look their way. He's not going to throw it. And I think that's a serious, serious issue, just in terms of him not having the right weapons for him. Again, another stat I want to throw at you on him, similar to Young, Caleb Williams is 0 of 10 on passes 15-plus yards. So all those big explosive plays that we saw in college, we haven't seen a single one so far. And only one of those attempts was inside the numbers. So 9 of those attempts have been to the sideline. So, we're really limiting ourselves as to what we can see out of Caleb so far. And you put that together with the offensive line, which is just atrocious. They gave up, the offensive line itself gave up 20 total pressures against Houston. So you put that with, and it's a bad cocktail.
Some individuals, because, hey, everybody likes to dig into fantasy And Josh, I'm sure, as a data analyst, you cover a lot of it. It's early on. There's been some key injuries for sure. Is there one or two guys who most people projected, and I know it's early, it's only 2 weeks, but you're like, ooh, I might be leery of them in fantasy moving forward?
Wow, I was thinking strictly fantasy. Well, I mean, it's easy to start with the quarterback play for sure. In particular, those rookies. Yeah, I think we've seen in terms of the rookies, you've got Jaden Daniels because of the rushing. He's still getting you those points. We're not even seeing that from Caleb Williams necessarily. So, and I don't know that that's going to improve. And you look at Denver's rookie quarterback, Bo Nix. It's like he doesn't want to even look at passes that are more than 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And I just that offense as a result moves at an absolute snail's pace. So I would even say that any time you're playing anybody involved in that game, that pace of play is so slow. I would probably fade just about everybody fantasy if Denver's involved.
Fair point. What about when I look at a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we talk about, a lot of people are saying, you know what, they got talent there, but they don't like the play calling. Where do you come out on the play calling of the Jaguars? And is it as much of an issue, and should they make a change?
That's tough. That's so early on that. I don't know if I can truly buy into that.
Okay.
They've kind of rehauled their offensive skill players to some extent. They're trying not to rely on Etienne as much. I think he had like an 80% share of touches or in terms of the running backs last year, and they're trying to work other guys in more there. They got a rookie wide receiver who looks very, very promising, but got to work. It takes time with that too. Trevor's Trevor. He exploded on the scene at Clemson right away, and I don't think he really developed beyond that. And I also don't think that that's necessarily his fault. I don't think Clemson does a great job of preparing quarterbacks for the NFL. I think they just see talent and they throw guys in there. And obviously, he's had quite an adventure with the coaches he's had in the NFL. But I kind of think he's that guy that he's going to make a couple of wild plays every game, but he's also going to have those head scratchers, kind of like an Andrew Luck did that all the time for the Colts.
Yeah.
Another example of a guy that was so highly touted, but I don't think ever, injuries and early retirement aside, I think that's another guy that didn't ever quite live up to what he was built up to be.
Well, speaking of living up to what you're supposed to be, Ohtani, as we've been speaking, went yard again. He's 6 for 6, 3 home runs, 2 doubles, 2 stolen bases. First player to do that maybe ever. I know no one had 2 homers, 2 doubles, and 2 stolen bases since 1901. And his last home run, Josh, it sounded a lot better.
Was it loud?
Yeah, it was loud, and it was a bomb. So
right.
it made up for the lackluster 50th. But the number 51.
Okay, I'm a believer now.
Yeah,
you told me.
It's yeah, exactly. Like up until that point, you're on the fence. Does this guy really have the numbers to be as good as people think? Like, it's crazy to think all the money they paid him, and he's not even pitching, and they're still getting their money's worth because he's been that good.
Yeah, that's kind of the wild part, right? Yeah. He doesn't do the pitching at all anymore. I admittedly don't follow baseball at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know the whole, you'd think me being the analytics guy, I'd be all up on it in every league now.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting that they have him leading off. I mean, I guess that gets him the most at bats. Maybe that's the thinking behind it, but I'd be curious to see like the full rationality behind that.
Well,
is it really, I mean, obviously he can steal bases, so that helps, but
yeah, it is.
But, I'd also want him batting everybody in.
Yeah, no, it's true. Right. But I think his his RBI total still right up there too. He had 10 today, for God's sakes. Like
good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's amazing. And you look at like going quickly turning back to football, like you look at the start of Mahomes' career. just as an individual, because I'm a big believer that teams win Super Bowls. Obviously, you have to be a good player and stuff, but sometimes you'll win a Super Bowl and, maybe you don't have the best game because your defense is great, and that's okay because it's a team game. But when you look at the individual start to Pat Mahomes' career, do you think he has a chance when it's all said and done to be considered better than Brady?
Without question. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's so hard to quantify what he's done, especially when you look at this past year. Obviously, they had a solid defense last year.
Yeah.
But that was not a good skill room at all. It was not a good offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it despite everything else. Why? Because they have Pat.
Yeah.
And it's hard to look at the rest of the league and think that they're going to consistently beat him. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to get more. So we'll see. But yeah, I think he's got a real shot.
Josh, great stuff, man. Really appreciate it. We'll have to do this again. Thanks for your time.
All right. Sounds awesome. Have a good one.
There you go. That's Josh Liskowitz from PFF, their senior data analyst collector. Collects a lot of data. Honestly, there's no real data to compare to what Shohei Ohtani did today and what has done so far in his MLB career. It's not. It was like, I think one player who might be a little underrated and underappreciated for how good he was Ichiro. It was like Ichiro had 10 consecutive seasons of 200 hits. 10. There's only one other player in the history of the game who's had 10 seasons of 200 hits, Pete Rose. And he came over older was Ichiro, but he was unreal. And what a cannon of an arm he had from the outfield. Just for, I don't know, was he a $160 maybe? But that guy, Cons, had just an absolute rope and could throw the ball.
Yeah, he was great for the game too. Landing in Seattle, I think financially they benefited quite well from the overseas sponsors. But I mean, it's crazy. Every time I look back, Shohei's hit another home run or stole another base. He could be up to 52 at this point, the way things are going. The Dodgers have 20 runs today. Give him a break, Miami. Hasn't Miami gone through enough?
Oh, God. Hey, it's pro sports. Play to win. Play to win. They're having fun. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up. Go in the room here. A few more from the Oilers today and day one of On Ice training camp. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We'll get your texts as well. 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox. EWEL.ca for all your electrical gear.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
It's the final week of the Bricks famous tent sale, and everything must go. Take up to 70% off clearance items in the tent and store, and find amazing deals in every other department before it's too late. Take up to $1,400 off sectionals, up to 25% off bedroom dining furniture, and up to 50% off mattresses. Hurry in while the tents are still up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
I couldn't ignore it. Everyone kept saying, "You look so tired."
Are you getting enough sleep, dear?
Hon, you look like you need some rest.
But I'm not tired. I guess I just look that way.
But you don't have to. I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I provide skin-refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance. Don't worry, we won't drastically change how you look, but we will help you look as energetic as you feel. Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Buy early and score with the Stollery Children's Hospital Foundation Mike G Millions Lottery. Bonus prize deadline is midnight tomorrow. Win Lower Bowl Oilers season seats plus $50,000 cash and begin to win the $2.5 million grand prize. A show home with $100,000 cash plus incredible vehicles, luxury vacations, and more. Oilers bonus prize deadline is midnight tomorrow. Be mighty. Support Stollery Kids. Buy now at MikeGMillionsLottery.com.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and the time to think about winterizing your RV is before the snow flies.
There's a lot of steps you need to take to winterize your trailer or motorhome.
And you have to get every step right every single time. Right, Rick?
That's right, Bob, because if you make even a little mistake, you might not realize it till spring. By then, it's too late to fix what you got wrong.
Hey, Rick, do you winterize your own trailer?
Not anymore, Bob. I hired people who are smarter than me. Genius technicians who check every component. Dozens of systems to be maintained and protected. And today, we offer that service to you, starting at $99. Every winterization package comes with a full report in writing, so you know what to expect come spring. If you're confident to do it yourself, have at it. If you're like me and you'd rather have this done by somebody who knows what they're doing, then come to Noeblock, and we'll take care of you.
And that's no.
Now, you know what? Some people are going to say, Gregor, this is unfair. You're wrong, and that's fine, but I think you're wrong. Did you see the note that just came out? A lady in Banff was fined $350 for just getting up and leaving her half-eaten burger when she was at the campground. Just be like, nah, I don't want it. I'm not going to clean up after myself, which anybody who camps knows that you don't do that. Honestly, $350, she got off easy. Now, I'm not saying we have to have F1 type of fines of $1 million. She didn't steal any proprietary information, but I'm all for this. Like, there's just certain things you don't do. Be smarter. Be smarter. So, I like it. Ohtani is indeed the first player in Major League Baseball history to go 6 for 6, have 3 home runs. Well, just have 3 home runs, 2 doubles, 2 stolen bases in the same game. He did it in a game that clinches the for the Dodgers their spot, right, in the postseason. It's 12 consecutive postseason bursts, by the way, for Dodgers. Now, they spend a lot of money there, so we could have a whole debate about that. But Shohei Ohtani is an absolute unit that we have never seen before in Major Leagues of Baseball. Even if you're not a baseball fan, I recommend watching Ohtani. Just even watch the highlights from tonight. There's just something that, like, this, athletes don't do this. We've never seen this. It's awesome. And it makes you wonder what other elite athletes are capable of, right? It's like, elite smart people when it comes to, artists in certain things that they do, they create stuff and it's like always coming up new and you're like, where did that come from? But now you're seeing athletes and they're pushing the boundaries of greatness, and it's awesome to watch.
Gregor, he's Barry Bonds pre and post steroids combined to one player that can pitch.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You're told, like, Barry Bonds before he took roids was a really good player. He would have been a Hall of Famer. I've never understood, but he wasn't a 50, like he wasn't a power home. Go look at his numbers. He was never a big home run guy until his head started expanding because he had so much steroids in him that his head actually grew. Like, think about that for a second. He had to cheat that much. And he still has the record of 73 home runs. And it's the biggest scam in baseball, but whatever. And baseball let it happen. They knew they were doing it. They're like, hey, who cares? Let's just, we have no morals. All we want is home runs. Yay. Take as much steroids as you want. Here, bend over. Give me another syringe. Like, come on. This is brutal. But before that, he was a really good player. 40-40 guy. It was awesome. But this guy's 50-50. And as you said, then he comes out. And he's not just a relief pitcher. He's a starting pitcher who's a great starting pitcher.
And he has not been ruled out to pitch by the playoffs.
Could you imagine? Oh, my God.
It's going to be a must-watch ball.
Oh, God. Without question. Now, tomorrow, the con man is running the show. As gonna go lace him up tomorrow afternoon, Cons, in a little alumni game. So that should be fun. We'll Wish me luck. See if I can make it through. There might be like 5 games. God, I'm almost going to want to throw it. I don't think I can play 5 games. You kidding me? So we'll see. But it'll be a lot of fun with the Chiefs tomorrow. Should be great. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. If you missed any parts of the show, go to jasongregor.com, anywhere where you get podcasts. Sergio Castillo, I highly recommend it. If you have an athlete in your family, go listen to that interview and what he talks about preparation mentally, physically. It was amazing. So check it out. Here's a Conman Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home with no payments, no interest for 1 year in your furnace. No payments, no interest right now at legacyheating.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
It's been an absolutely amazing day for Shohei Ohtani as he becomes the first major leaguer to hit 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in the same season. He's currently 51 today, 6 for 6. 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. Dodgers knocked off the Marlins 20-4. The Blue Jays also in action earlier today. They were victorious as they were after their series with the Rangers. Vlad Guerrero hit 2 home runs. They win 4-0. Yankees fell to the Mariners 3-2, and it was the Guardians getting past the Twins 3-2 as well. Right now, Rays lead the Red Sox 1-0. Diamondbacks and Brewers are scoreless. Phillies Mets tied at 2. And the Nationals up on the Cubbies 1-0. Week 3 in the NFL will kick off tonight with the Patriots taking on the Jets down in Jersey. That one's set to get going in about 20 minutes time. From the NHL, the Red Wings signing restricted free agent defenseman Moritz Seider to a 7-year deal worth just under $60 million. Seider, still just 23 years old, appeared in 82 games last season, recording 9 goals and 42 points. And Radko Gudas will become the 9th captain in Anaheim Ducks history. WNBA action, halftime. Sky trailed the Sun 46-35. The Dream up on the Liberty 43-30. Fever trailed the Mystics 52-45. Clayton Clark with 8 points in that one. Later tonight, the Lynx meet the Sparks. Wings taking on the Aces, and the Mercury hosting the Storm. And from the CFL, Winnipeg Blue Bombers linebacker Adam Bighill announcing that he will be undergoing season-ending knee surgery. The 35-year-old last played on September 1st. The Bombers in Edmonton on Saturday taking on the Elks. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got Fox Sports all night. And then tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., Kevin Carius returns with the Kevin Carius Show with Brandon Douglas and guest co-host Eddie Steele. This has been a Sports 1440 update. Have a great night.
Sports 1440.
A Stingray Radio.